Good morning. Good morning. It's Thursday. It's February 1st. It's 11:11 when we're starting this stream. I had some technical difficulties, probably because Fred was eating my cables yesterday. But I have coffee. We have a lot to talk about today. We've got some quick bits are back. For the replay crew, you know how much I love you. All the timestamps are going to be linked below like they always are, so you can hop to what you want to see, or you can just put me on in the background while you're playing mobile games. I get it. Doing laundry, cleaning, working, all the things. I love when you guys share what you're doing while you're watching or listening. So today we are covering a little bit in quick bits about what's going on with Universal Music Group and TikTok. You might have seen a lot of hubbub about that today because you know how much I love following the music industry. It's not the main part of what I do, but I'm always fascinated by what the music industry is doing. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Kohberger change of venue motion. It's just real quick. We are going to briefly touch on the new Real Housewives lawsuit. If you didn't recognize Carolyn Manzo in the thumbnail, Carolyn Manzo is a Real Housewife, formerly a Real Housewife in New Jersey. At the beginning of Jersey, it's what pulled me into that show. Anyway, Caroline is suing Bravo. We're going to talk about it. And then I have the audio from the first juror that was questioned before the Murdaugh hearing. So the Friday before the Murdaugh hearing, that was embargoed. I don't even know if Justice Toll can do that, but it's Justice Toll. So everybody's like, we'll just let her do her thing. Nobody's challenging this. We're not going to fight over it. It's 2 days. So I have the audio from that hearing. That is the juror foreperson that was questioned. We're going to go through that audio. It's going to be pretty short, but I want to hear all of it. I feel like the loop's not closed, right? The loop's not closed on that hearing until we hear from that final juror. We heard from 11. I want to know what that last juror said. We're going to talk. I feel like Monday was so wild. I feel like we all need like a debrief. So then we're going to debrief, go through some of Courthouse Becky's emails, answer your questions about Murdaugh, and that's the show today. That's the whole plan. So for all of you that showed love to the Emily Show podcast yesterday, it's been one of our most popular podcasts, and I hope that it illuminated how long these appeals can take and the sorts of things that come up on appeal by using the Scott Peterson case as an example, because it is back not just in the media, but back in the appellate court. So hopefully all of that has gotten us caught up to speed. So with all of that, we will debrief at the end. So if you have questions, I will grab them. We're going to swoopy doop into this episode, and we've got a few housekeeping matters. So we're going to roll the intro. I'm going to take a sip of this coffee. It's my second one today. Hopefully this is the one that makes me feel human. It's that time of year, y'all. Even though it's February, it still feels like winter. I don't know. Is today Groundhog's Day? Did Phil see his shadow? What are we getting? You guys in the chat, tell me what we're getting from the groundhog. Let's get into today's episode.
Hey there, I'm Emily D. Baker, the internet's go-to legal analyst, breaking down the legal side of the pop culture and entertainment stories we can't stop talking about. I'm a big fan of the cursey words. I've been a licensed attorney for over 17 years, but this is not legal advice. This is where the law nerds unite to talk about facts, not... Let's get into it.
Wait, Groundhog Day is really tomorrow? Can it also be today? Australia, what happened? Australia's living in the future. Can you guys just tell us what we're getting? Oh my goodness, chat. I live for you. I absolutely live for you. It's why I do what I do. It's why I live stream, because you can count on the fact that I'm going to get stuff wrong all the time. I also appreciate everyone in the chat and everyone in the comments who, when there were comments of like, why are you using offensive language, reminded the commenter that curse words don't, for us in this corner of the internet, curse words don't fall into the offensive language category. And if you are offended by them, it's time to maybe not be here, because there are things that are offensive language, sure. But the cursey words are not those things that we are offended by. So it was funny. I also will not be told what to say on my channel. It always confuses me. I think people think that they're helping. I generally take most comments with a grain of salt where people are coming in trying to be mindful and trying to be helpful. But policing how I talk is something that I've dealt with so much, especially as a neurodivergent person, that it's one of those things that I just can't tolerate. And it now kind of makes me giggle because I've done a lot of therapy. It's like, no, we're just me, and telling me I'm not classy because I curse is just not it for me. So to all that are offended by the cursey words, you're probably not here, so it's fine. You're probably also offended by my hair. You know who would be offended by my hair and my cursey words is probably Poot. I imagine Poot would be offended by all of it. And that's fine. But again, I think that like languaging, I don't find cursey words to be offensive. But all of you in the chat, you don't have to fight. You can just lol at that stuff. You don't have to explain. For those of you that were like, are you new here? I think that's probably the most accurate response. But I appreciate you for not jumping on someone about it and just being like, are you new here? It's her channel. She'll do what she wants. Thank you. So I appreciate all of you. It's just hilarious. Also, it's in my intro. I tell you what's happening. It's just too funny. So I will curse like a very classy sailor today because Courthouse Becky is going to bring it out of me. I can promise you that. But we need to talk about TikTok. We need to talk about Kohberger briefly. We need to talk about the Real Housewife lawsuit briefly. If you guys want to deep dive into the Housewife lawsuit, let me know and I will deep dive it. There's a couple other things that have been happening that we need to take care of. But I really want to cover the last Murdaugh stuff, and I feel like we need to debrief. So all things, I also repeat myself, all things considered, that's what we're doing today. Housekeeping wise, we're talking to the app engineers. I don't know. It's frustrating. We dealt with the same frustrations when we had the text line, but app notifications went out like 4 times yesterday and didn't go out yet today. Sorry. We are working on it. We are aware of it. We are annoyed by it, but we are aware of it. So for all of you that are just like, hey, we didn't get an app notification. I know. It's with everything we do, nothing works perfectly. And it is one of those things that reminds me that I have to just take a breath because nothing is going to ever work perfectly all of the time. And that it is my like journey in this life is to figure out how to just accept it. Some of you got yours. Great. I did not get mine in the app. So for those of you that got them, great. But we broke it. I love that we broke it. The law nerds break shit. People don't understand our community. Like they look at my subscriber numbers and they're just like, oh, this will be cute. And then we tell them, hey, I know that you see the subscriber numbers and don't understand what we mean by active engagement. And you might think that we are like a small channel and we're going to have like 5% engagement. That's not what's going to happen. The law nerds are mighty and they show up. So if you deign to think that this community will not be engaged, there are folks that I work with in this crazy world that is the creator economy who work with like celebrities and like monster creators with like 10 million plus subscribers and whatever. And they're like, we've not seen anything like your community. I'm like, I keep telling you this, and I feel like y'all don't understand. Like, our community is incredible and powerful. So it's just funny to watch people underestimate the law nerds and then be like, oh, fuck. We didn't anticipate that it was going to be like that. We're like, we all told you. We fucking told you. We told you. We told you. Law nerds, you're amazing. You constantly prove people wrong and prove us right because we know y'all. We know y'all show up. It's an amazing community. I got the best DM. I don't often go on X, Twitter or whatever. And I don't often go into my DMs, but occasionally there are links to cases and people I'm keeping up with who are only on that platform. And I got the kindest, most genuine DM that was just like, hey girl, hey, big fan. I'm pretty sure we wouldn't see eye to eye on stuff in real life, but you're bringing the internet together because your chat is full of everyone from literally everywhere. And it is so heartwarming to see that we can just talk about cases and just, I don't expect a response. I wanted to let you know, like, you're making the world a little bit of a brighter place. And I get so many of those DMs across platforms of y'all who are just like, thank you for creating this space. And it's hard to explain to people who aren't a part of it that it's different over in this little corner of the internet. And I'm so fucking grateful for you guys. You're the best. We're the best. And y'all pat yourself on the back for being such an incredible community and literally just refreshing people's not just spirit, but hope that we can have conversations with our neighbors again and that we can find spaces to get along on the internet, and we can disagree with one another but still like one another. Like, what's that like when it's like, hey, I don't always agree with this person, but I like them. And that's okay. We can disagree because we can treat each other with dignity and respect and still not agree on everything. And that's a really, really incredible thing. So thank you. You guys are keeping me sane. 2024 is going to be a roller coaster of a year. And I think we need community more than ever. And we're finding it here. So cheers to you. You guys make me like all like, my face just gets all leaky. And Dr. B's like, are you okay? I'm like, the Lawners are so great. They restore my faith in humanity. And he's like, those are big words. I'm like, yeah. So I just wanted to like be sappy at you all for a minute because it's something lawyers know really well. Lawyers know really well that we can, spar with one another in court and disagree vehemently and like one another. And that is something that's maybe kind of unique to that profession. A lot of professions where you have to be oppositional, you don't always like the opposition. And it's true, in law, you don't always like the opposition, but that's not because they're your opposition. It's generally because you guys don't mesh. It has nothing to do with them being opposed to you. It has everything to do with sometimes in every profession, you come across people you do not mesh well with. So it's really fun to bring what I love from my profession and that respectful disagreement into this space on the internet. So thank you. Let's all mock TikTok a little bit together, shall we? Shall we do that? Shall we mock TikTok a little bit? I have not been on TikTok. If you guys are on TikTok and have been watching like TikTok Mageddon today, this is something that I think every social media platform has been to or been through. But the TikTok of it all is really special. We're going to go to the Universal Music Group and we're going to have a conversation about whether this is good or whether this is bad. I'm going to let you know now. I don't have an answer. I don't know. I don't know what's better. And I want to have a conversation with you about it. I want to have a conversation with you about it. Do we think it's good? Do we think it's bad? What's good for artists? What's not good for artists? Is everybody just making all their money off of artists? And this is two big companies fighting who's going to make the most money out of artists, and artists still get fucked at the end of the day? I don't know, but we need to find out. So let me find my Quick Bits bumper. It's been a minute since we've used her. And let's chitty chat about the Quick Bits. Quick Bits. It's hard because I'm like, can you see both sides? It's like, I can see both sides of things. And then I'm like, well, where do I fall on this? I'm like, I don't know yet. And my kid and I have been debating for days now the movie Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and whether Ferris Bueller has a personality disorder. Because my son, my teen, very much loves an in-depth conversation and is like, Ferris doesn't care what consequences befall Cameron or Sloan missing school, or if anyone at the school is going to get in trouble for him, like lying to get Sloan out of school and all the rest of it. He's like, I kind of wonder if he's like a sociopath or a narcissist. And so we have been having all of those conversations about Ferris Bueller's Day Off. And he's like, I really don't love that he doesn't care about any consequences. And so he's like, why does everybody think he's the hero? He's like, he's an anti-hero. He's like a fucking villain. I'm like, and that's what the sister says. And because the sister says it, everybody thinks she's the villain. So let's have a conversation about that. The sister ends up getting in trouble with everybody for saying it. The sister's like, no, he's a manipulative asshole. And everybody's like, girl, you crazy. Sit down. Go to jail. It's wild. So chat, all of you are like, yes, Ferris is a supervillain. Yes. It's crazy. So we've been having this conversation at my house about my kid looking at movies from a different angle when we were all like, but he's singing on a float. We just love him, to like, oh shit, wait, no, he's the problem. It's him. Oh dear. Right? And like the younger girlfriend is just like, it's fine. And then Cameron is just like, I don't know how to stand up to him because it's harder. Like, it's too funny. All right. Coffee. I've had coffee. Let's pull up. We were supposed to be talking about TikTok, right? TikTok. We'll get back to Ferris Bueller another day, I promise. BMG Music, as of midnight last night, the end of January, has pulled all of their music, or sorry, not BMG, UMG has pulled, wait until the others do, has pulled all of their music from TikTok. That includes Taylor Swift. I don't know how I feel about this and whether Taylor Swift's just being leveraged in a fight between two multinational corporations, but it is what it is. An open letter to the artist and songwriter community, why we must call timeout on TikTok. Our core mission is simple: to help our artists and songwriters attain their greatest creative and commercial potential. To achieve these goals, our teams employ their expertise and passion to strike deals with partners all around the world. Partners who take seriously their responsibility to fairly compensate our artists and songwriters and to treat the user experience with respect. One of the partners is TikTok, an increasingly influential platform with powerful technology at a scary, accurate reference. Not reference, wait, what caught my eye? Something in the chat caught my eye. Dolly said EDB dating herself with the BMG reference. Yeah, I'm old. We don't hide it. TikTok is hugely influential. Things chart because of TikTok. I get it. And their algorithm is scary accurate. Like, of all the algorithms, the algorithm on TikTok scares me a little bit. It is way too accurate, but it does track literally everything. As with many other platforms who we partner, TikTok's success as one of the world's largest social platforms has been built in large part on the music created by our artists and songwriters. TikTok was Musical.ly. TikTok is at the core of it. I mean, there's lots of uses for TikTok, but the thing that blew up TikTok and the thing that still blows up on TikTok is trending audio. Trending audio pushes TikTok forward. A lot of that is music. Music that sometimes is music like I loved and listened to in the 90s. And my kid's like, oh, this became a meme on TikTok. So now my kid is getting into music because of TikTok, though generally he watches TikTok through people sharing TikToks to Instagram because my son and I are both 90s kids. He's just like, oh, people share the TikToks on Instagram and that's where I watch them. So it really does drive the music industry now. TikTok drives the music industry. Music industry deals have changed. The way that artists are signed has changed. You don't get multiple albums to find your audience. You get a song that you need to make it on social media. And I think that damages music. Like, how many bands do you love that you discovered on their third or fourth album? What if that band got 2 songs to prove themselves and it did? Emily, it sounds like you love 90s jam bands. And if they didn't have labels that backed them and touring, that they wouldn't have ever made it mainstream. Yes. It goes on to say, as with many platforms with who we partner, TikTok's success as one of the world's largest social media platforms has been built in large part on the music created by our artists and songwriters. Agreed. its senior executives proudly state publicly that music is at the heart of the TikTok experience. You guys let me know if you agree or disagree on that. And our analysis confirms that the majority of content on TikTok contains music more than any other social media platform. The terms of our relationship with TikTok are set by contract, which expires January 31st, 2024. In our contract renewal discussions, we have been pressing them on 3 critical issues: appropriate compensation for our artists and songwriters, protecting human artists from the harmful effects of AI, and online safety for TikTok users. Are we going to agree with the music industry on this? Because there's a lot I don't agree. There's times I look at music industry contracts, I'm like, well, that's predatory. But are we going to agree? Universal, are you going to make me agree with you? I might agree. Okay, I so far I agree. We have been working to address these and related issues with other platform partners. For example, our artist-centric initiative is designed to update streaming remuneration. I'm just pronouncing it that way. Those N's and M's, I can't tell what order they're in. Remuneration? No, remuneration, whatever. Payment model. And better reward artists for the value they deliver to platforms. Good, and I'm sure that's something that Taylor Swift backs. She fought with Apple over it. In the months since its inception, we're proud that this initiative has been received so positively and taken up by a wide range of partners, including the largest music platform in the world. We've also, which is who? Who's the largest music platform in the YouTube Music is dancing today. The YouTube Shorts team has to be like, we've got agreements with Universal. Like YouTube and Instagram are like, bring your shorts over here. We've also moved aggressively to embrace the promise of AI while fighting to ensure artist rights and interests are protected now and far into the future. In addition, we've engaged a number of our platform partners to try to drive positive change for their users and by extension, our artists, by addressing online safety issues, and we are recognized as the industry leader in focusing on music's broader impact on health and wellness. I mean, music's good for the soul. Not medical advice, just experience. Which is why I hate Ticketmaster so much. They make it harder for music to be good for the soul because you have to fucking deal with Ticketmaster. Hey, Universal, hey, while we're doing this, could you also have a conversation with Ticketmaster? Can you also please have a conversation with Ticketmaster? Like, please. With respect to the issue of artist and songwriter compensation, TikTok proposed paying our artists and songwriters at a rate that is a fraction of the rate that similarly situated major social platforms pay. Today is an indication of how little TikTok compensates artists and songwriters despite its massive and growing user base, rapidly rising advertisement revenue, and increasing reliance on music-based content. TikTok accounts for only about 1% of our total revenue, which is bananas when you look at the numbers that music does. TikTok pushes music. The amount of music that is streamed through TikTok is wild. So if you're not paying for that, who's making money? TikTok. It has to get back to the artist. I understand that it getting back to the artist means Universal absolutely gets their share because they do. Universal's own interest is tied up in this. But if the artists aren't getting paid at the end of the day, because the artists get a fraction after everybody else has had their hands in the pot, it's not good for artists. But I have to wonder if the discovery, like, does it balance? Like the payment versus the discovery, where does that balance for up and coming artists versus established artists? I am very curious about that. Ultimately, TikTok is trying to build a music-based business without paying fair value for the music. Well, we know that the music companies are going to get theirs. They're kind of like the IRS in that way. On AI, TikTok is allowing the platform to be flooded with AI-generated recordings, as well as developing tools to enable, promote, and encourage AI music creation on the platform itself, and then demanding a contractual right, which will allow this content to massively dilute the royalty pool for human artists in a move that is nothing short of sponsoring artist replacement by AI. AI music and AI art is a whole nother conversation. When we're looking at what what is art and what is music, and can an algorithm just scrape, oh, these are the trending sounds, we can make a similar knockoff of it. Well, who do you sue in those copyright battles that are going to take 10 years? They're going to happen. We're going to have lawsuits over AI generated music. It's going to be an issue. Let's see. Further, TikTok makes little effort to deal with the vast amounts of content on its platform that infringe on our artists' music and has offered no meaningful solutions on the rising tide of content adjacency issues. YouTube was sued over this before their content ID system went into place, and then their content ID system went into place. Is it flawed? Yes. Is it better than TikTok's? Also yes. Which is why music is still allowed on TikTok or on YouTube, and YouTube Music also has an algorithm for musical discovery. Emily, you sound like an ad for YouTube Music. I mean, it's what my family uses the most these days, which has led us to some great bands, mostly through my kid. Because he's like, have you ever heard of this band? My kid discovered the Sick Puppies like 2 weeks ago, and I have never been more thrilled. I'm like, welcome to the 90s gloriousness. But then also pointed out to me a band called Poor Man's Poison, and I was like, this slaps. Like, it's just nice to find new music when I get so stuck in my own musical kind of loopholes. All right, let's keep going. Chat, you are my people. Let's see. Further, TikTok makes little effort to deal with the vast amounts of content on its platform that infringe on our artists' music and has offered no meaningful solution to the rising tide of content adjacency issues, let alone the tidal wave of hate speech, bigotry, bullying, and harassment on the platform. The only means available to seek the removal of infringing or problematic content, such as pornographic deep fakes of artists, and through now that that's happening to like Taylor Swift, I mean, this is something that female streamers, not me, female streamers have been dealing with for quite a while. I know Cutie Cinderella had talked out about it quite a lot, because getting deep fakes, especially adult content deep fakes taken down, is incredibly difficult, just incredibly difficult. And I'm so glad that I am a content creator in my 40s, because I can't imagine what young creators have to deal with. And it makes me nervous when I see there are like Gen Z influencers that keep coming up in my Instagram feed that seem to be driving the influx of like 11-year-olds at my Sephora, which is why I shop online now. But that's a whole nother conversation about me going into Sephora before I traveled to LA and being run through by tweens. It was insane. Allison King said, wait, 40s, mid 40s, Allison, mid 40s. But there are these influencers that are like 10 doing like their morning skincare routine with products they don't need because they're 10. But it worries me for what their future is, being so online and growing up online, and how deep fake they can be. If you guys want to hear the Sephora stories, I will tell it when we get to Q&A. It makes me very nervous for them, knowing that the internet is so and can be so awful, that I know that when there are kids on the platform, that those kids' likenesses are going to be used to make some really awful shit. And it scares me. From when I left the DA's office in 2017, the rise of, sorry, my computer just got weird. The rise of what was being created in images, mostly images were being grabbed off of Facebook, being grabbed off of sometimes MySpace and other social media photo sharing sites, Flickr and sites like that. They were taking a parent sharing a photo of their kid and turning them into the types of images that should not and cannot legally be shared. So when you now have video of children on the internet like that so much, the criminals that are going to take those images and make them into illegal images, illegal digital images, is terrifying. It's terrifying to me when it happens to adults. It's terrifying to me when it happens to children. And it's bad. And parents don't think of it because they're not broken humans who have been exposed to way too much of the worst of humanity. So it makes me nervous. But if Universal, because its artist Taylor Swift has been AI deepfaked, if they're the ones that are going to pony up the money to start fighting this problem on the internet, let's fucking ride. Did I ever think I would be like, Universal Music, predatory contracts aside, let's fucking go. Like, I will ride for this. This I will ride for. There is not a ton I do in my profession, but if you want to put me on a committee to talk about the laws that are going to fight this kind of shit, I am in. I'm in. This is a huge and growing problem. And if the music industry is going to fight it, they actually have the fucking money to fight it. So I think two things can be true at once. Can I kind of hate some of the contracts that the music industry makes young artists sign? Sure can. If the music industry is going to fight the problem of AI deepfakes and how you start shutting down AI deepfakes and AI deepfake porn, let's ride. Let's ride, Universal. I'm here. Let's go. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it. Because that shit is a huge problem. And Universal has the money to protect their artists in this way that most people independently don't. When you look at a streamer like Cutie Cinderella, who's mostly a Twitch streamer, but when you look at the Twitch streamers who have been deepfake, these are streamers worth, millions of dollars, and they still don't have the money to fight these things on their own. But if large companies start taking up this issue, let's go. And yes, chat, I agree with you. When I was in high school and on Color Guard, we had to go buy makeup for performances, right? We didn't even go to Target because the Target makeup was kind of bougie. We went to CVS. Like you do. Like, go start with some Wet n Wild eyeliner, friends. There's nowhere to go if you're starting with Sephora. These are kids who are going to be like, but mother, for my 13th birthday, I really need to get some SK2 toner to the tune of like $400. I need to get that Clé de Peau. Mommy, mother. There's nowhere to go, child. Go get your Cetaphil. It's perfect for your skin. Go get it. Go, stop it. You don't need Sephora. I will rant another day. Anyway. Exactly. Mary P's like, truly, they're going to be disappointed their entire lives. Yeah. When you spend $300 at Sephora as a teen, where do you get a job as a 20-year-old to support that kind of fucking lifestyle? You don't. You just don't. Can we normalize an age up process where you don't get all the cool shit when you're a teenager because your parents are using it to validate their own internal existence? Like, stop it. Parents, you don't need to prove that you're a good parent by how much money you can spend on your kid. In fact, saying no to some of that stuff might be real liberating. Then again, I drive into a student parking lot of cars every day going, why are kids driving cars that I'm driving? I know how much this car costs. Like, my child is getting the hand-me-down vehicle and it is not his heart's desire. And you know what? At 16, if you get the car that is your heart's desire, A, it's probably going to get squished by a deer at some point here in Middle Tennessee. And B, there's nowhere to go. Where do you go from there? You've got to work towards something that you want to feel the satisfaction of getting it. Otherwise, it's hollow. Instant gratification becomes hollow after a while. I'm going to stop ranting. We're talking about TikTok. Oh my God, Emily. TikTok. We're talking about TikTok music. But if Universal Music is going to take on the issue of AI deepfake porn, I'm here. Let's see. So the only means of seeking removal of infringing or problematic content, such as pornographic deepfakes of artists, is through a monumentally monuments to the gods of speculation, through a monumentally cumbersome and inefficient process which equates to the digital equivalent of whack-a-mole. Look, speak on it. Speak on it, Universal, because as much as there are problems within the copy and content ID system on YouTube and people can game the system, there is a system. Oh, in chat, my very first car was as old as me. My parents bought the car I got when I was 16 and then gave back when I went to college so my brother could drive it. My parents got the car I got when I was 16 when I was born. I drove a 1978 Volvo and it was yellow, but not like a cool, cute, sunny yellow, like a baby feces yellow. And it was a fucking tank. It was the biggest goddamn car. The defrost didn't work. It was just a mess. 1978 Volvo. So I love seeing all your first cars in the chat. It's amazing. But when I was in high school, mid-90s, like the bougie kids, like the bougie rich kids were getting like new Volkswagen Jettas. They weren't getting, Maserati SUVs. Just saying, like the rich kid cars were new Volkswagens. Maybe a Saturn. It was not what it is today. I can't imagine being a teacher and driving into a student lot full of like $90,000 plus cars. It's like, could somebody just pay me that? All right, going on. But when we propose that TikTok takes similar steps as other platform partners to try to address these issues, it responded first with indifference and then with intimidation. TikTok, that's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. As our negotiations continue, side note also, a lot of us, all of our first cars didn't have backup cameras. And we survived. It's why we're so fucking resilient. Because we learned to drive without backup cameras and sensors. Nothing beeped. You had to figure it out or your car went crunch. And your parents made you pay to fix it. So, as our negotiations continued, TikTok attempted to bully us into accepting a deal worth less than the previous deal, far less than fair market value, and not reflective of their exponential growth. So, from the time that the deal was negotiated to now, TikTok is trying to lowball the deal, even though TikTok is not struggling. And do you know what I'm seeing? If you guys were on the members only, you saw my rant about legacy media, but lots of legacy media is struggling with advertiser rates. We have seen layoffs from Sports Illustrated and LA Times. We have seen digital media outlets like closing their doors at the end of January. We have seen quite a lot of ripple effect through legacy and digital media. And part of what's cited in all of that is that advertising rates are going down. Well, advertiser rates aren't necessarily going down. Advertiser rates on legacy media websites that are behind a paywall are going down because a lot of that money is shifting to apps like YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. So advertiser dollars are shifting to different platforms, TikTok being one of the big ones. So if advertiser dollars are shifting to TikTok, part of TikTok's expenses is going to have to be the music that they're using. This is not an inexpensive game to partner with the music industry. TikTok knew this. I think they thought they'd get away with it for a while. They're not. This eventually comes for everyone, and it came for every platform before it, and TikTok knew that this was coming. How did TikTok try to intimidate us? By selectively removing the music of certain of our developing artists while keeping on the platform our audience driving global stars. This is the part that pissed me off. That TikTok, they say, I haven't seen TikTok say that this is not true. Universal says that TikTok took growing artists, developing artists, and smaller artists off of TikTok while leaving your Taylor Swifts on TikTok. That's fucking shitty. It's just a shitty thing to do. And so I'm not surprised that Universal's like, bet. So if you want to take our growing artists off of TikTok, we're going to take Taylor Swift off of TikTok. Don't fuck with the music company that distributes Tay's music. It's not going to go well for you. I want the statistic of how much Taylor Swift music is shared on TikTok. I want to know because I imagine it's a lot. I mean, I use music in Instagram stories quite a lot to convey my feelings or to be shady or to be entertained. I probably use Taylor Swift music a couple times a week, and I don't even make these kind of reels. That's just in story shares. It goes on to say TikTok's tactics are obvious. Use its platform power to hurt vulnerable artists to try to intimidate us into conceding to a bad deal that undervalues music and shortchanges artists and songwriters as well as their fans. We will never do that. We will always fight for your right to party. We're gonna fight for your right. Sorry, I don't know which music distribution company the Beastie Boys are signed with. We will always fight for our artists and songwriters and stand up for the creative and commercial value of music. Again, there's a lot of self-interest in this. I don't think all of this is altruistic, but we recognize the challenges that TikTok's actions will cause. We do not underestimate what this will mean for our artists and their fans, who unfortunately will be among those subject to the near-term consequences of TikTok's unwillingness to strike anything close to a market rate deal and meaningfully address its obligations as a social platform. But we have an overriding responsibility to our artists to fight for a new agreement under which they are appropriately compensated for their work on a platform that respects human creativity in an environment that is safe for all and effectively moderated. We honor our responsibility with the utmost seriousness. Intimidation and threats will never cause us to shirk those responsibilities. Here's what's interesting with all of this. Today the music came down. So the music is down now. All of the UMG artists are off of TikTok. It's my understanding that TikToks that use that music are now silent. But what's really interesting about this is A, how long it will last, and B, whether other music groups will join this. It's my understanding that TikTok is trying to negotiate directly with artists. Here's what I'm curious about with y'all. Is today the day the music died? I don't know. I think they're fighting so that it won't die. Here's my question to y'all. Is it better for artists? And we don't know. We only know what we know. But when you get artists that are in a position to individually negotiate, of course, artists like Taylor Swift are going to have all the bargaining power. And what we've seen Taylor Swift generally do with that is do it to benefit all artists. We know that she did that with Apple Music and said, no, you can't have my music unless you give everyone this rate. And Apple was like, you're Taylor Swift. We are going to do that. But I think if you allow artists to negotiate independently, you could end up with smaller and emerging artists in bad contracts with TikTok, the same way they're in bad contracts with the music labels. But if you have a collective bargaining where you've got the music groups collectively negotiating for a rate for all artists on that label, does that benefit developing artists more? And I don't know what the right answer is. I guess independent artists that aren't signed can choose to do whatever that they want, but artists that are signed with a music distribution group or signed with a label aren't going to have the option to choose how they do this. Like Taylor Swift doesn't have the option to be like, no, put my music back on, right? Though I imagine is part of these conversations. So I want to hear what Taylor Swift has to say. I haven't seen a statement by Taylor at all, but Taylor's one of the biggest artists in this group whose music is now off of TikTok ahead of the Super Bowl. The timing of this couldn't work better for Universal Music Group, right? Because if you run in the pop circle world or the pop culture circle of the world, it's, Taylor Swift is going to the Super Bowl and everybody's, well, quite a lot of people are quite enthralled by the entire cultural moment that is Taylor Swift dating a football player because, women are often discussed through the men that they date, but that's a separate conversation. So I'm fascinated by everybody else's fascination. And I'm sure all the Chiefs fans are like, whatever, go Chiefs. It's fine. I'm here for the memes that the Super Bowl is between Taylor, Red and Red Taylor's version. I'm here for all of it. I'm here for all the jokes, but the timing of this couldn't work better for Universal Music. So we're going to go real quick to The Verge. Universal Music Group has started removing music catalogs of performers the label represents, including Taylor Swift, Drake, and Olivia Rodrigo. Look, Olivia Rodrigo is hugely popular on TikTok, hugely popular with a younger demographic. I like Olivia Rodrigo's music. It's fun. It's catchy. So it's just, this is going to hurt TikTok. After negotiations to renew licensing agreement broke down this week, the previous licensing agreement expired January 31st. On Tuesday, UMG accused the platform of attempting to bully it into accepting a bad deal that didn't soothe the record label's concerns regarding adequate compensation for artists. We've gone through all of that. Now UMG-owned music that features in TikTok videos will be muted, and the users looking to replace the removed tracks will need to select alternative options from other music labels. So that's not super helpful, The Verge. We know that. I don't think TikTok has made a statement about this. We will see if they do, but the music is coming down off of TikTok. TikTok creators are also going to be impacted by this, but I like that at least TikTok creators can go and switch out the music. So I'm going to keep following it. I'm really interested by these contract negotiations. I'm very much interested in the bargaining power that Universal Music Group has. I wonder if other labels will follow suit. I don't know if letting creators negotiate with this platform on their own is good for creators. I don't know if all creators have equal bargaining power in that when it comes to what rate they're going to get on TikTok. And is it better for all creators to get a set percentage? Like, hey, if your music is being licensed to TikTok, you get this percentage or this amount per stream or whatever it is. Is it better if that is the same? Or is it better to let it be, well, the more in demand you are, the more you can get? I don't know. Olivia Howe says TikTok is like a goddamn vampire. There you go. So I'm going to keep following this. I want to see what the contract negotiations do. We're in a real interesting time of copyright, music rights. I might have to go. There's a music rights, a music and copyrights legal conference that might be real fascinating in the wake of all of this. Y'all are going to make me do more CLEs. So I really want to see what happens here. And I want to see these platforms hopefully benefit artists. Because if UMG benefits itself, it will also benefit the artist. But I'm here to see what happens with this fight. All right. We need to get to the quick Kohberger motion. And then we're going to talk about Housewives, and then we're going to get into all things Murdaughs. All things Murdaughs. So the chat's like, but it's good for us. Hey, I'm here. I'm here for massive companies fighting to maybe some good will come out of it. Please go. I'm very interested. There's a couple conferences I'm looking at. One's a media law conference. And it's been a minute since I've been to media law conferences, and one is a music rights conference. I'm curious. So I got to do my CLEs anyway. My reporting year is going to be coming up here again. So might as well do something interesting with it. I feel like at this point I could teach a CLE on high profile cases and managing media well in a high profile case. I feel like there's a lot to be discussed. I've done some CLEs on it. I think there's more to be discussed there, but that's for another day. I enjoy teaching CLEs. You get double credit when you teach them. And for all of you lawyers out there that treat this as self-study, cheers to you. All right, Kohberger motion. I've ranted way too much today. We just needed to have a chat. CLE is continuing legal education. Lawyers are required to do continuing education. Different jurisdictions have different reporting requirements. California does a three-year loop. All right. This is coming from Idaho. This was filed on the 30th. I think it popped up on the website yesterday, filed by Ann Taylor on behalf of Brian Kohberger. Motion for change of venue. We knew this was coming. Jamie Young said, you can count this as self-study. Lots of lawyers do. We're talking about law. Sean said, reporting for California was yesterday. Yes, my reporting group was not up yesterday, but I'm starting to plan for the year ahead because I hate that panicked feeling in December when you're like, fuck. I haven't finished my CLEs, but I did remember to pay my bar dues yesterday. And I remembered to, yes, it was yesterday. And I remembered to put in for my Dave Matthews summer tickets yesterday. For those of you that, reminded me that it was the end of the ticket request period yesterday, I appreciate you for having my back. Let's see. In the District Court of the 2nd Judicial District of the state of Idaho, motion for change of venue. Let's see. This motion is made pursuant to the 5th, 6th, 8th, and 14th Amendments. That's broad. Motion for change of venue. A fair and impartial jury cannot be found in Latah County owing to the extensive inflammatory pretrial publicity. I've got thoughts. Allegations made about Mr. Kohberger to the public by media that will be inadmissible at his trial, the small size of the community, the salacious nature of the alleged crimes. I mean, isn't murder always kind of salacious? And the severity of the charges Mr. Kohberger faces. Enlarging the jury pool will not do anything to overcome that pervasive prejudicial publicity because Latah County does not have a large enough population center to avoid the bias in the community. Further, the size of the community and the interconnectedness of its citizenry is problematic and will prevent a fair, impartial pool of jurors. Mr. Kohberger, by and through his counsel, requests an opportunity to be heard through evidentiary presentation and argument no sooner than the end of April 2024. Your Honor, please set a hearing in May. But they want to provide evidence. What's interesting about this is often when we see motions for change of venue, it happens while they are selecting a jury. And we saw this in Murdaugh. When Murdaugh was getting ready to go to trial again for the financial crimes, we saw motions filed, and I covered them briefly, saying, we are getting all of these questionnaires back from jurors, and all of the jurors have heard of this. We have a problem here, Your Honor. We don't have enough people. Once the questionnaires went out, we don't have enough people to make a veneer. Even though Poot calls it a veneer. Not that I can criticize anyone else's pronunciation of anything because I am horrible. It's a veneer, which is the panel that comes in before you seat a jury. But they waited until they had the jury questionnaires back to say, look, this is actually a problem. And what they're asking for here is not just to embiggen the scope of where you grab jurors from. They're asking to actually move the trial out of Latah County. I think the problem is when they say in their motion, extensive inflammatory pretrial publicity, where are you going to go? Because this is a case that they have argued over and over and over again has received international attention. So if the case has received international media attention, where do you go? Like where do you take this case then? So it looks like we are going to bump up on a motion for, change of venue at the end of April 2024. The court has not set a trial date yet. We have not seen that ruling from the court. For all of you who are telling me you got your app notifications, thank you. I'm so glad. This will be an interesting hearing. The court will hopefully stream it. I'm here for all of that. So we'll see what happens. I imagine that the argument from the prosecution is going to be a change of venue will be tremendously cumbersome on the witnesses in this case. It will be tremendously cumbersome on the victims' families in this case. And moving it elsewhere is not going to help because of the international attention of this case. There is nowhere to go. And at least the court should start jury selection with questionnaires a month or two before the trial date and see how the questionnaires come back and take it up again there. And I think that's what the prosecution will probably argue here. All right. So that's a real quick overview of Kohberger. What's next, Emily? We need to get to Real Housewives, and then we're getting to all things Murdaugh. All right. Real Housewives, we're not getting into the nuts and bolts of the suit. We're going through an article from Law 360. I love their reporting. Hashtag not sponsored, but should be. And we're going to talk about that real quick. And then for all of you waiting to debrief from Murdaugh, then we will just debrief together and the rest of the stream will be all Murdaugh-y. All Murdaugh-y. All right. And I'm going to save some of the questions. Amethyst, this is a great question. I'm going to save this till we get to Q&A. I know. I know. The app has been a problem. Ursula, we could talk about text notifications in a little bit. It was not a solution for our international audience. And it was a difficult solution because carrier by carrier, they were not getting delivered. So app was our best bet at this point. So let's go to Law 360. Real Housewives star claims show used assault for profit. Let's just, for those of you not in the Bravo sphere, I need lipstick for this. Let's just take a minute. For those of you not familiar with the Bravo sphere, here's the thing. The Bravo sphere is vast and wide. The heart of the Bravo sphere, as I see it, is the Housewives franchise. Some of you might have recently been pulled into the Bravo sphere, not by me talking about Erica Jane and Tom Girardi, not by me talking about Jen Shaw going to federal prison, not by Teresa Giudice flipping a fucking table and calling somebody a prostitution whore who's been engaged 19 times, not by the receipts, screenshots, proof, fucking everything, but by the scandal of it all from a Housewives spinoff series, Vanderpump Rules. There are now other series, including things like Below Deck and Married to Medicine, but Housewives have long been kind of the jewel in the crown of the Bravo network because those are the shows that really shifted the Bravo network into what it is today, as detailed in my friend Dave Quinn's book, Not All Diamonds and Rosé, which does a great deep dive with interviews from like production and cast members about what it was like starting Real Housewives of Orange County and then branching those franchises, how Andy Cohen grew to be like the grand dame of all things Bravo. Fascinating. So yes, Southern Charm too. And then it is spun off into things like, I always forget Top Chef is Bravo. And then it spins off into things like Winter House and Summer House and Ultimate Girls Trip. Ultimate Girls Trip is a franchise that I love. It airs on Peacock. And it takes housewives from different franchises and puts them together for like a week somewhere, and then shenanigans ensue. And it's really interesting seeing women from different franchises get to know each other, have questions with each other, vacation together. It's fascinating to watch. I love the Ultimate Girls Trip franchises. I love seeing the different relationships, all of it. So this lawsuit is centered around a has not aired yet, may never air season of Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. So that's where we're at. The allegations between Caroline Manzo, or from Caroline Manzo against Brandi Glanville started, gosh, it feels like a year ago. It wasn't that long ago. But after this trip filmed, Caroline talked about an alleged assault during filming from Brandi Glanville, and made those allegations. At that time, Brandi and her attorneys put out a letter to Bravo and were like, release the footage. Like, you're letting me get excoriated all over the internet. Release the footage. I didn't do what she's saying that I did. Just, can you release it and resolve all of this? So that's what Brandi's lawyer did. And now we're at the point where Caroline Manzo is suing Bravo in New York, not suing Brandi Glanville, suing Bravo over the allegations of sexual assault, saying that the network chose ratings and profits over protecting their employees. So this is where we're at. I personally very much enjoy Caroline Manzo, enjoy Caroline Manzo's sons, met them very briefly at BravoCon. They were lovely. Enjoyed the New Jersey connectedness of that franchise when Caroline Manzo was part of the franchise. Like back in the day of the New Jersey Housewife franchise, very much enjoyed Caroline and her family, would watch every spinoff series they ever did. Also don't have any strong feelings against Brandi Glanville. She's always been incredibly great TV. But have we seen Brandi slap Lisa Vanderpump? Yes. Have we seen Brandi ask Lisa Vanderpump, what, do you want me to eat your pussy? Yes. Like, have we seen Brandi have wild moments on television? Yes. But that's generally why they put her on television. Brandi Glanville is good TV. Like, just hands down, good TV. Also, has always been lovely when I have seen Brandy in public. Brandy's team has been lovely when I have seen them at BravoCon and stuff. Like I have not had people tell me that they've had negative interactions with these individuals. Sorry, for all of you that don't watch Housewives, I see the shocked faces in the chat. It just is. It just is. It just is. Avetta said, I've never seen Real Housewives. Where should I start? Oh, chat, you guys can weigh in on that. Everybody's got their own opinions, but the first seasons of Jersey are incredible. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City has the fewest amount of seasons, so you can kind of jump in and get there. So for all of you that are shocked, I'm sorry, but I think it's context for those of you that don't watch these shows. So I love reality TV. Though reality TV has changed a lot since my early day fascinations of the real world. All right. So chat, you guys are great. Atlanta is so good. Atlanta is such good TV. Started watching Beverly Hills, love it. And I get, for those of you that are like, I don't want to watch Housewives, I get it. I get it. We're always going to talk some pop culture here. I get it. If it's not for you, it's not for a lot of people. My son comes in and is like, oh, look, they're drinking and yelling at each other again. Weird. The early days of some of these franchises are so messy and so real. I could never do reality TV. Like I just can't. I would be so self-conscious. It takes an incredible amount of courage and or alcohol to do these shows. All right. From Law 360, former Real Housewife of New Jersey cast member Caroline Manzo sued Bravo Media LLC on Friday in New York State Court, alleging her co-star Brandi Glanville sexually assaulted her, and that the network chose ratings and profits over protecting their employees. Manzo's lawsuit details, I wonder if they are employees. I bet they are, not contractors. Manzo's lawsuit details several instances of sexual assault by Glanville, who is not a named defendant, on the set of the spin-off series Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip in Morocco. The suit also names Warner Brothers Entertainment, NBC Universal Media, Forest Productions, Shed Media US, and Peacock TV. All of those are involved in the Ultimate Girls Trip. Manzo asserts 18 causes of actions, including discrimination under New York state law, sexual harassment, discrimination based on sex and gender, retaliation in violation of California's Fair Employment and Housing Act, and negligence. If we want to dive into this lawsuit more, and you guys will let me know if you want to dive into it more, we'll get into the fact that they're suing in New York under state law in both New York and California. We'll do that a different day. Defendants profited from Glanville's sexually offensive and harassing conduct, and once again chose ratings and profit over protecting their employees. Here's my question to you, chat. If this hasn't aired and doesn't air, can you prove that the network chose ratings and profit over protecting their employees because it has not aired and it may never air? So if it doesn't air, will Brandi sue to have the footage released to clear her name or not? But if it doesn't air, then what? Also, Brandi is a huge part of like the Vanderpump Rules spinoff, because Sheena, who is a Vanderpump Rules star, and Brandi kind of bridged that because Sheena was working for Lisa Vanderpump and then was waiting or was waitering parties at Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but Sheena had slept with Brandi's or dated Brandi's husband at the time when he was Brandi's husband. So there was this whole interconnectedness that was messy. Glanville first starred in Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, but she was fired after the 5th season. Bravo hired her again to appear on the 2nd season of Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, according to the suit. The complaint details prior instances of Glanville's purported sexual harassment during previous seasons of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. CEG, what I talked about before. Katie in the chat said, EDP, do you need one of those boards with a red string? Maybe. I feel like I need like a whiteboard. I might buy one. I might get one of the boards that you just write on that aren't an iPad, but are iPad shaped, and just be able to like draw out the plays. Just visualize it, because this is the connectedness of the Brandi Glanville in the Bravo sphere is quite substantial. Like whatever those smart boards are. Yes. Me doing plays on the whiteboard here. Good Lord. Defendants had overwhelming prior notice of Glanville's prior deviant sexual proclivities. I don't know about that. And sexually harassing conduct. I mean, she has kissed co-stars, whether it was against their will or not, I think could be debated. She did slap Lisa Vanderpump in the face. She does make all of the comments. Joe Jersey, yes, Brandi's exactly how they introed VPR because of Sheena. Yep. So despite this knowledge, defendants wrongfully continued to hire Glanville for their shows. Did Bravo have noticed that Brandi's conduct might be like this? Did production know? And should production have known that? On the set in Morocco in January 2023, the cast members were sitting on a couch when a drunk Glanville kissed Manzo, which made her very uncomfortable. But Glanville continued to hold Manzo down and thrust her tongue into Manzo's mouth while humping her, according to the complaint. Manzo managed to break free and went to the bathroom, but Glanville followed her, the suit says. She alleges Glanville continued to assault Manzo behind locked doors, and despite her cries for help, the producers did nothing. This is why Bravo is being sued. The crew continued filming even though Manzo was in distress from the sexual assaults, according to the suit. The suit alleges that Bravo regularly plies its cast with alcohol to get them intoxicated and then encourages them to harass other cast members to boost ratings. This has come up in multiple suits. Manzo said in the suit that she was sexually assaulted when she was 7 years old, and the incident made her relive previous sexual assaults. In the days after the assault, production members encouraged Manzo to meet Glanville because defendants were more focused on the continuation of the show rather than the health and well-being of Manzo after she was sexually abused. As a result of the defendant's actions and inactions, Miss Glanville sexually abused and harassed Miss Manzo, causing Miss Manzo extreme emotional distress and other loss of enjoyment of life and other damages. Manzo seeks a jury trial in an amount to be determined at the time of trial, punitive damages, and attorney's fees. And yes, for the chat asking, under the law, unwanted sexual touching is unwanted sexual touching. There are lots of levels of that types of sexual touching, but unwanted kissing is an unwanted sexual touching. And they allege other touching as well here, but those are unwanted things. I mean, if your boss came up and did this to you on a couch, it would be right. So I think for the chat that's asking about whether or not what this is, unwanted touching is unwanted touching. No touching, no touching, no touching, all the same. No touching, no touching. Like your coworker shouldn't be coming up and sticking their tongue down your throat. They just shouldn't. If this goes to trial, Dice asked the real question, will they view footage in court? If it goes to trial, yes. And Bravo's now on notice that they have to preserve all footage, cut and uncut. This might never see the light of day, but the footage is going to be a very big part of this. So, no touching, no touching. Manzo seeks a jury trial and judgment against defendants in an amount determined at a time of trial, punitive damages and attorney's fees. Her attorney, Derek Smith, noted in an email to Law 360 that his client's primary dispute is not with Glanville. We believe this case is about the network selfishly sacrificing the well-being of their talent for ratings and profit. Brandi Glanville stated she was simply doing what the producers told her to do. Reality TV is leading to severe emotional and psychological harm of its talent. This must stop. So Manzo is like, look, you ply someone with alcohol and then poke at them enough. Is it their fault or is it your fault? You are the employer. And if you tell your employee, hey, you know, it would be funny, go do this thing, and your employee does it, who's responsible? So that's why the companies are being sued and not Brandi. Again, Brandi has denied this and attempted to clear her name. Brandi's lawyers filed things with Bravo, asking an NBC Universal group, asking them to release the footage and clear her name. So this lawsuit might bring quite a lot of that to light. And you might actually see in this lawsuit, Brandi's lawyers being very cooperative with Caroline Manzo's lawyers to bring all this out to the light of day, that at the end of the day, what is happening behind the scenes and the plying people with alcohol and then filming them is not the best environment to protect those involved in a show. And that is the heart of what we're going to get on reality TV. I think there are plenty of people in the Bravo sphere that are fascinating without needing to be plied with alcohol. There are personalities and characters and lives that I would like to see. But the model of reality TV that is get them drunk and let them fight needs to change. It's not good for anyone. So with all of that, it's time to get to a Murdaugh debrief. You need it. I need it. We all want it. Megalina, I had made our juror video private. Can you just go make sure it's unlisted? Thanks so much. I meant to do it before stream and then I didn't. So thank you for doing that. I appreciate you. I just want to make sure I haven't fucked something up, which I probably did. So thank you, Miguelina. We're going to shift to that debrief. I do have a channel that I put these things on. So if you see a channel name, you're not missing out on another channel of mine. It's just a channel that I use specifically for court feeds and court videos and stuff. So let us take a trip back to South Carolina where we live. And you guys, I will put up a poll right now before we hop on the plane. Manzo v. Bravo, should we cover it? If you want to cover it, I will go through the entire lawsuit. We'll talk about the law provisions of suing under multiple different state laws, why she would have sued in New York, the strategy of suing the companies and not suing Brandy Glanville. Because again, if you don't sue Brandy, it means that you might be able to, Caroline Manzo's lawyers might be able to work with Brandy's lawyers against the network versus against each other. And that might be a real interesting thing. All right. Thanks, Miguelina. That was my fault. Miguelina did it right, and then I changed it and messed things up. Let's go to South Carolina. Good. That flight was long enough for me to finish my coffee. Thank God. We are now back in South Carolina. This week has been a trip. Monday was a whole roller coaster of emotion with the Murdaugh case. I am still not all the way recovered. I need a debrief just as much as y'all need a debrief. We're going to get to the audio testimony of the juror that was questioned on Friday, one of Eric Bland's clients who was questioned on Friday before the trial, or before the hearing this Monday, the evidentiary hearing. Before Justice Toll ruled from the bench, I can't wait to see what these orders look like when we get them. Maybe when we're done listening to this audio, I'll go see if there's anything else in, yeah, I'm going to do that. We'll go look and see if anything new has popped up on the docket since the hearing. Justice Toll ruled essentially that, and I saw a few people say this in the chat, that Courthouse Becky was a clout goblin, and that even though Courthouse Becky was a clout goblin, Alec Murdaugh was not prejudiced because it did not change any of the jurors' verdicts. There is a split in law. We are going to get very deep into appellate law with this. Ugh. Trial level law is my favorite. Appellate law is like, okay. But we're going to get very deep into appellate law and splits of circuits and the rest of it. This is like the nitty gritty details of being a lawyer, is to understand that sometimes the long game might benefit you. And that's, of course, what Dick and Jim are counting on, is that in the long game, you can show that the fact that a state official, the fact that the clerk of court had substantive conversations with the juror is enough to presume that that impacted the jurors. You don't have to show that it did, and then the state has to show that it didn't. It burden shifts to the states, and that's a very different position than the defense has to prove that it did. So I understand both standards. Truly, I understand when you have, the heavy arm of the state seemingly pushing on the scales of justice. Not only is the appearance of impropriety horrible, but it feels that the best way to have laws that discourage that kind of behavior is to say, you know what? If you have these conversations, it's presumed that it fucked with some shit, and the state, also an arm of the government, is going to have to prove that it didn't. So no, the defense doesn't have to prove it. The state has to prove it, because state actors having a conversation with jurors is a lot different than somebody coming up to them at Target over the weekend being like, oh my God, I heard you were on jury duty. Are you on that Murdaugh case? Like, Mario. Than the clerk of court being like, you need to watch him closely. When it comes from within the building, when the call is coming from inside the house, it feels more authoritative than when it is your friend from down the road trying to have a conversation with you about a case. So I can understand why some of the case law leans that way. Different than if it's a conversation out in the public, right? It's different. So I understand the argument that it should be that once the defense proves the conversation happened, then it's on the state to prove it didn't impact anything, because it's presumed that it did impact something. I get it. That's what Dick and Jim are arguing. South Carolina says, no, boo. You need to prove that the conversation happened, and you need to prove that it prejudiced your client. You need to prove that it changed a juror's mind. And Justice Toll went in on Poot when Poot's like, I want this whole affidavit to come in. The affidavit of Juror Z is what contradicted Juror Z's testimony. So when Poot wanted that affidavit in, that affidavit gave two different versions of Juror Z's testimony. So the court has on the record two different versions of testimony. And that is where the court said, I think Juror Z was equivocal, was absolutely equivocal. And I don't think this affected and prejudiced Alec Murdaugh. But that affidavit was a big part of the problem. And he's like, can I withdraw that? And Justice Toll's like, nope. No, you can't. So what I think the ruling was is that Becky Hill absolutely had conversations with jurors. Do you think Becky Hill did? I think Becky Hill did. From all that testimony, I think Becky Hill absolutely had inappropriate conversations with jurors. The defense is arguing that that was financially motivated, and I disagree. I don't think Becky Hill was thinking that this is going to sell more copies of a book if he comes out this way or that way. I don't even think that Becky Hill was necessarily trying to push the outcome of the case. I think Becky Hill was meddling to inflate her own importance. So I'm going more clout goblin, less malice. Does it change things? Not necessarily. But do I think it was a master plan to like, oh, I'm going to make this jury think he's guilty and I'm going to sell more copies of my book? No. Do I think it was, I'm going to be involved with this jury. I want to be the 13th juror in this case, and I want to be involved enough to write a book, and I want to be in all of it. I think it was motivated by her own self-importance, not malice. And that isn't the legal standard. That doesn't matter. But I don't think it was her necessarily trying to sway the jury. That's me. I think she was indeed blinded by the siren song of internet fame. Well, Courthouse Becky wanted that smoke. She's got the internet's attention. Sometimes fame and infamy are just two sides of coin. I don't think she wants the side of the coin she's getting. I think the SLED investigations into the wiretapping are going to be illuminating. I'm not surprised there's ethical complaints about her. I think she's absolutely going to ride out the rest of her elected term because there's no process in South Carolina to recall her. I don't think she's going to step down, because what do you do next after this all happened? Like, what's your job after this, after all of this happened? And she got the 15 minutes of fame she was looking for, but not as everybody's sweetheart, down-home clerk of court who was just, so helpful. It was someone whose ethics were swayed. And I don't know if that's because she was a new clerk or not, or if that's how she's always been. Like, have you always been meddling, Courthouse Becky? Was she the one gossiping about all the kids in high school? Like, it is really busybody kind of gossip behavior. And I think that's what it is. So with all of that, let's get to your questions. Let's get to the, well, no, we're going to get to the audio, then we're going to get to the emails, then we're going to get to your questions. Yeah, the pep talks were ridiculous. Lost in thought. I like to give the jurors little pep talks. Ma'am, you're not one of the jurors. This isn't about you, boo. I think she loved seeing herself on TV. Look, man, I don't understand. I don't understand when people are like, the goal is to be famous. Yeah, nope. Danger. I don't understand. I understand actors who are like, I want to act and I want to do this job. And if I get famous, I will get more jobs, but also fame kind of sucks. I don't understand the goal to be famous because yes, you might make a lot of money. There's other things you can do to make a lot of money that don't involve being so known. I don't get it. But Becky Hill has reached a level of infamy where she is now known to the interwebs. And that's wild. That's wild. Study, I'm going to save this question. It's a great question. We're going to get to it. So this is why the roles are often called public servants. It's not about you. Exactly it. I mean, I went to the DA's office and my entire career was centered around trying to dodge media attention. When reporters and local media outlets would call, I would give them the number to media relations and say, hey, we have a whole department that does that. They can give you updates on the case. Like, miss me. Do not put my picture anywhere. Do not have media coming into this courtroom. Do not talk to me about this. Literally let me try my case and let me go away. I also knew that I did not generally fit what the office at that time's perception of their media-facing attorneys were. We had a whole section that dealt with that. Look, I was in high school during the OJ case. I saw how the media treated the prosecutors. I wanted none of it. And now we're here. I just want to talk for a living. Can we do that in a vacuum? We can do that here with the law nerds. Let's get to this video, shall we? You're going to see that this is put up on the Law Nerd TV channel. That is a channel that we own. We added the seal of the great state of South Carolina to this audio. Does this audio sound a little bit like it was recorded on a potato? Yes. Do I apologize for that? Also, yes. What in the world happened? Sorry to my roadcaster. It was just going crazy. So this is audio only recording. We added the seal so that we had some visual representation of that. And let us go. We're going to play this audio. So you don't want to change your hairstyle. A change of hairstyle evaluated from page. Yeah, no, page, exactly. No, I don't. No, I don't. Not at all. Why a potato? I don't know why it's recorded on a potato. Here, let me gain this up a little bit. Let's see. And hopefully the gaining it up won't make it worse. And let's go to the audio. This is the juror that was questioned. That testimony was embargoed on, oh, I should swoop. Emily, make life easier for everybody. This is the audio that was embargoed until Monday of the juror that was questioned on Friday. On Monday's hearing for Murdaugh, we heard from 11 jurors. This is the 12th juror that we did not hear from yet. We heard in the arguments of the lawyers that this juror also indicated there were conversations with Miss Becky. It is my understanding that this is the jury foreperson, and so they're alleged to have had one-on-one conversations with Courthouse Becky. So let's see what they have to say in their own words.
Is that the juror will be brought forward.
That is Justice Toll speaking. Yes, I know the sound is, the recording on this day was different.
Our attorney is in, the witness is in the juror box on the back row.
There we go. I'm going to do my best. Let me make this just a little bit bigger. No, that's too big. No, that's still too big. I want to make the closed captions big enough for you to see. Hopefully that'll help. Let me embiggen me, but then you can see the closed captioning a little bit better, I hope. All right, let's do that.
Will not be permitted to interrupt the proceedings or interject any kind of objection, anything of that kind. He escorted her here, and for her comfort, I have allowed him to be here. I can assure you the bailiff has been with her at all times, and Ms. Bland has very much honored my request that no conversation be had amongst them about her testimony in this case at this time.
So what Justice Toll said to the attorneys in court is that Mr. Bland has honored that this juror speak to no one about her testimony. The bailiff has been with her the whole day, and so she has not spoken with anyone about her testimony.
So, Officer Doyle, will you bring the juror forward? Thank you.
Bring
Be easy.
the juror.
Good morning. I will be referring to this juror as Juror X.
This is Juror X. The way that the South Carolina accent and the word juror work together is delightful to me, but this is Juror X.
Juror X, let me give some preliminary remarks about this matter to you. You've been subpoenaed to come forward with testimony in connection with a motion by the defendant for a new trial. Normally, these kinds of hearings, like the one I'm conducting today, would be done right after the verdict is rendered, because that's generally when issues.
The court is saying these would normally be done right after the verdict, but this case is unique.
Like this come up. This is almost a year after the verdict, and I'm very sensitive to how difficult that must be for any of the jurors in this case, including yourself. Please understand to begin with.
For the chat, because I've seen this question come up a lot, Valerie C. asked, why was this done early? Scheduling conflict. This juror had a scheduling conflict for Monday, could not be there, and these jurors are already so inconvenienced. They spent 6+ weeks in this trial, so I'm not surprised when the court set the date that they were like, I will accommodate your schedule, and that's why they did it early, because of a scheduling conflict.
You have done absolutely nothing wrong.
I appreciate that Justice Toll did that every time. You've done nothing wrong.
And I respect that. But I must conduct a hearing to explore the issues that have been raised, and I intend to do that. You will be sworn, and then you will take the witness box.
I like how the judge went through the process with the jurors.
When those questions are complete, I will ask you to take your seat in the jury box.
Thank you, Rebel. I'm glad we're with you.
Everything is completely closed about your testimony, then you may leave or stay as you wish. But your attorney is with you, and your attorney will escort you to the secure arrangements.
So Eric Bland was there with this juror.
We have a very good time with the Bible study class and the engagement you have for next week.
Lyndon.
So
we're going to need therapy after this.
Juror X.
Also, we put swoops when we edited for time, so it was clear where we cut nothing of substance. We edited nothing of substance. We edited the hearing for time, and that's what the swoops are for, so that it's clear when we edited for time.
You rendered a verdict on March 2nd, 2023, in the matter of the state of South Carolina against Richard Alexander Murdaugh. The verdict was read in open court, signed by the foreperson of the jury. The court then said, Madam Forelady and members of the jury, if this is your verdict, if this is your verdict of each and every juror, please let it be known by raising your right hand. The transcript then indicates the jurors complied. The jury was then individually polled, and each was asked, was this your...
If this sounds familiar, this is exactly what the judge read to each juror that testified on Monday after this.
verdict? Each juror answered yes. Each juror was then asked, is that still your verdict? And each juror answered yes. Was that an accurate answer about your verdict at that time?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Speak up.
The juror said, yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
And this is the question that I think came into play a lot with Juror Z as well. When the jurors answered to Judge Newman, is this your verdict based on the evidence of the case? Yes. That yes indicates it's based on the evidence in the case, not on whatever clerk of court Becky Hill might have said.
Was your verdict based entirely on the testimony, evidence, and law presented to you in this case?
Yes.
And that's the other thing. Juror Z answered yes to that, based on the evidence in this case. Those are the things that matter.
Did you hear Ms. Becky Hill, the clerk of court for Clarendon County, make any comment about the merits of this case before your verdict?
No.
And remember on Monday when Poot was arguing about the word merits and whether this juror was confused about the word merits, that juror doesn't sound confused for me. Did the clerk of court make any statements to you about the merits of this case? That juror said loud and clear, no.
Was your verdict on March 2nd, 2023 influenced in any way by any communications by the clerk of court, Becky Hill, in this case?
No, Your Honor.
Real clear. No, Your
And the
Honor.
final question I have to you, there was some issue raised at one point about.
Yeah, for those in the chat saying she didn't hesitate either, she didn't hesitate at all. And I have done a lot of jury trials in my time. And what I found from most people is that when they truly don't understand your question, and trust me, in a jury trial, there are plenty of bad questions asked, they will say, can you repeat that? Or I'm not sure what you mean by that. When people are confused, they will generally tell you that they are confused because they are sitting in a courtroom under oath, staring at people, and no one is hurrying them. They are not being rushed. So if they are confused, they will say, can you repeat that? And we saw that in the hearing on Monday. So I'm not surprised that in this hearing on Friday, when the prosecution was arguing Juror X was not confused, Juror X didn't sound confused. Juror X was like, nope, no. Didn't sound confused at all.
Your private meetings with the clerk of court.
They are asking, I'm going to back up a little. They are asking this juror about private meetings with the clerk of court. This is how we know that this juror is the foreperson, because it was alleged by other jurors and the defense that the foreperson is the one that had conversations with the clerk of court. I'm fascinated to hear what the answers are to this. Have I listened to this? No. Miguelina made the cuts for me because I wanted to respond or react with all of you live. So I'm fascinated to hear what this juror has to say.
And a final question I have to you. There was some issue raised at one point about your private meetings with the clerk of court. Did those, and it doesn't sound like they were long duration, but private meetings, any issue other than the procedure involved with the case?
It was about a different matter. It was nothing to do with the case.
All right. Thank you.
It was about a different matter. It was nothing to do with the case. I don't think Clerk of Court Becky Hill should have been talking to anybody about the trees on the Moselle property or about people's ex-husbands. I think all of that was inappropriate. But does it mean Alec Murdaugh needs a new trial? As to those things, no. Her telling people to watch body language, that's real confusing for me. I don't like that at all. But did any juror say my verdict was influenced? Only the one, and it was not a very strong yes. So this juror is very clear it had nothing to do with the case. Nothing to do with the case.
Ma'am, you may return to the jury box.
And that's it.
That concludes the question of the court. Madam Juror, Juror X, I'd like you now to accompany your lawyer and the bailiff to the jury room. please go to the jury room for a moment, and then I will indicate that you can come back and watch the rest of these proceedings or be dismissed at your preference.
The judge is going to continue
You may retire from the jury box.
to ask the lawyers if there's any additional questioning.
All right.
All the cuts are for time. When was this examination? The Friday before Monday's hearing. So last Friday, almost a week ago. No cross-questioning? No. And none of the jurors on Monday were cross-questioned either until after they talked to the lawyers. Now's the time for them to talk to the lawyers and ask follow-up questions.
Anything further from the state?
Not from the state.
From the defendant?
Your Honor, we were furnished a memorandum from the lawyer that published to you.
Sir.
The defense, Putin, the court asked any more questions for the juror. And the state said nothing from the state. And Poot starts going into a different subject.
It says, Chief Attorney Waters, we realize an attorney for juror 826 has told us that his client says that prior to the defendant's testimony, his client did hear court say words to the effect of, quote, looks like the defendant's going to testify. This is an important day, or this is an epic day. There was some statement that it was rare for a defendant to testify.
All right, sir.
So
This makes sense. This is why Poot was arguing that the juror was confused about the material to the case or substance of the case, because if Courthouse Becky said the defendant's going to testify today, that's inappropriate. Does it sway their verdict? Probably not, but it's inappropriate. The defendant's going to testify. It's rare for a defendant to testify. Pay attention. That goes right in line with Becky testifying that, or she was having pep talks with the jurors, which she shouldn't have ever done and is inappropriate. But I don't know if this juror considers that substantive to the case, because is it substantive or is it procedural? Is that just the scheduling today is Alec Murdaugh may testify? Because again, I think Becky wanted to be in on the tea. Becky Boo was just like, you guys, this is what I imagine. This is how I see this in my head. Well, or hear this in my head, because I don't visualize anything.
Oh my God, you guys, today's the day. Alec Murdaugh may testify, which is like epic. Defendants rarely testify. You guys, pay attention today. Let us know. Do you need extra coffee, water, blankets? We got you. Big day in court today, everybody. Big day in court. Defendant's gonna testify, you guys. What? Crazy. I know. I'm pins and needles, guys. Let's do it. Get out there, team. Let's go. Yay, justice.
That's what I picture. That's what I picture. That's what I picture. So Poot's arguing, well, we've got an affidavit from this juror, and they heard the clerk of court say the defendant's going to testify today. This juror might not see that as substantive and might see that as scheduling, because to you, it's like, well, it's not about the evidence. She's just saying he's testifying. That's scheduling.
Again, we go back to I think that the jurors have difficulty understanding the word merit means. I ask you to.
He argued it here. I think this juror has difficulty understanding what the word merit means. I might be being too harsh on Poot. You guys will let me know if I am. But there are times that the smugness of the politician, I'm smarter than everyone, comes across, and it almost feels condescending to me to be like, Your Honor, I don't think this juror really understood. We need you to question this juror more, because I don't think they understood the word merit. I don't like it. I don't like it. All right, we're going to get into Poot's arguments.
It was rare for a defendant to testify.
All right, sir.
So, again, we go back to I think that the jurors have difficulty understanding the word merit means.
I think the juror had difficulty understanding what the word merit means.
I ask you to ask her about this. This is from her lawyer. This is not something we got. And secondly, she said they had a discussion in private, not about the case. Maybe she doesn't understand what merit is. We ask you to inquire what that discussion.
She said she had questions not about the case. Maybe she doesn't understand what merit is.
And Now, let me add this up.
He's doing his job, but I don't like it.
So we have exactly what we were told by Mr. Waters and our lawyers said.
Mr. Waters?
Your Honor, again, yes, that was relayed to me by her lawyer, so of course, in keeping with our obligations, we provided that to the defense. As to Mr. Arbulian's specific.
Remember, her lawyer is Eric Bland, and Eric Bland and Poot don't seem to have any love lost between the two of them.
Once again, we think the inquiry is self-evident and the questions are adequate. And the merits is a self-explanatory word. And so we believe that the inquiry of the court's conducted is sufficient. And for this particular juror, is enough to get to the heart of the issue that needs to be addressed.
Very well, you may be seated. All right. Mr. Bland, please notify the bailiff that I would like to have the juror come forward again.
And the juror will be asked another question.
Thank you. Juror X, will you take the witness stand again? And remember that you're still under oath.
Miss Jo Beth, there's not much I can do to gain this up anymore without it getting really distorted. I will gain it up a little bit more, but the distortion is real.
I've asked the attorneys for any further commentary about the questions I asked, and I have been asked to ask one more question, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to read you a memorandum sent by the state to counsel for the defense.
So she's going to ask her, the judge is going to ask the juror about that statement about the defendant's going to testify today.
And then ask you about it, all right? Per Chief Attorney Waters, please be advised that the attorney for Juror X has told us that his client says that prior to the defendant's testimony, his client did hear Clerk Hill say words to the effect of, quote, looks like the defendant is going to testify, this is an important day, close quote. Or, quote, this is an epic day, close quote. And that there was some statement that it was rare for a defendant to testify. Juror X, can you verify that what I have read is something that you heard and told your attorney?
Yes, sir.
Very good.
She said, yes, ma'am.
These
The closed captioning put, yes, sir. She said, yes, ma'am. Even the closed captioning is being shady.
Have any impact on your verdict?
No, ma'am.
Very good.
She said, yes, I heard her say those things. And again, this juror didn't think that's about the merits of the case. This juror probably thought that's about scheduling. This witness is testifying today. It's rare. Like, I think she's trying to give them a preview. Like, yesterday in court, we had more guns being admitted into evidence. But today, folks, the defendant is taking the stand. That's going to be epic. I really do think this is all inappropriate by Courthouse Becky, but I think it's truly Becky trying to be too involved.
You are dismissed. All right, Mr. Waters.
Wedge, I'm going to get to this in just a sec.
Subject to all previous objections already lodged, Mr. Harper.
No, Your Honor, not as to this juror. I would like to discuss the court's logistics for
Sure.
They did discuss logistics.
Logistics for Monday as soon as we've dismissed the juror. Thank you, sir. Very good. Mr. Bland, you may go to your client now and notify her, number one, she's free to leave. Number two, please honor the instructions that I've given with respect to discussing this matter with other jurors. Thank you so much.
And that is the end. That's not what we're doing. That is the end. Gosh, YouTube with a swiftness was like, here's other stuff. Melina, next time we'll put an end screen so I can cut away. We'll fade to black or something. That is the testimony from Juror X, who testified last Friday before the hearing on Monday due to scheduling conflict. This was one of Eric Bland's client jurors who testified and said, yes, Courthouse Becky said the defendant's testifying today. This is a big day or an important day or an epic day or whatever. And that juror didn't consider that to be on the merits, and their verdict wasn't swayed. This juror said what she said, and that's it. Yes, Poot is trying to make it more than it is, but it just wasn't. So with all of that, we're going to get to a few of the emails from the clerk of court, and then we're going to get into your Q&A. So, are y'all ready? Are y'all ready? Was that pun intended considering it was Taylor Watch? I was like, this is not what we're doing. But let's get to some of these emails. So, Bentley said that's inappropriate of Becky to say, though, in front of the jurors. Yes, all inappropriate. Don't disagree. Don't disagree that it's inappropriate. The question really is, did it sway these jurors' verdicts? And most of the jurors said no. One of the jurors said yes, and then backed away from that statement. So this is all going to go up on appeals. This situation is so incredibly unique because clerks of court don't do this. They all know better than this and act with a level of professionalism. Courthouse Becky's behavior is completely improper, and it's really horrifying, truly. Maybe that's too strong of a word. No, I don't think it's too strong of a word. I would be fucking livid. Like Creighton was restrained. I would be fucking livid if I did a 6-week, 2-defendant murder trial, and then the clerk of court was having conversations with the jury. I would have been put off when the clerk of court is hopping on a plane with the jurors and saying, we all went to the Today Show together. She insinuated her or inserted herself into this juror, even in her languaging. In her book, it was we. In her statements and testifying, it was we. And a lot of you brought that up in the chat, that she continued to refer to the jury as we. Wedge, who has taken a break from flying his X-Wing fighter, said yesterday, Becky Hill said we quite a bit. Who do you think we is? I don't know if you noticed, but I did. Yeah, when Becky Hill refers to the jury, she still refers to them as we. She puts herself, and she did this in her fucking book. She puts herself into the shoes as the 13th juror. She is not a juror. This is not your circus. It's not the Becky show. And I wonder if, I mean, again, the clout goblin behavior. I wonder if it was very frustrating for the clerk of court to see, Eric Bland's got a podcast that has been #1 on iTunes, which is no small feat, with Mandy Matney and Liz Farrell. You've got Jim, who's got a podcast with another attorney. I don't think it's ever charted, but you've got Jim on a podcast. You've got people sitting outside every night doing court TV hits with Vinnie Politan and Chanley Painter, who, from my interactions with them from afar, we've never met in person, seem lovely. She was going out to dinner with the reporters there and wanted to be a part of this huge thing in a way that was not appropriate for her elected position. But Poot's on TV all the time, and Creighton did some interviews, and when Creighton shouted out the clerk during his victory lap press conference after the verdict, which was also kind of strange, she was sitting there watching the press conference happening and was thrilled that the cameras had panned up to her. She wanted to feel important. She wanted to be important. And it wasn't enough that people were in her emails saying thank you. I've read a lot of these emails, over 1,000 pages of emails. And as she's conversing with Nancy Grace, she is bending over backwards, now we're besties, and signing them XO, Becca Boo, and all the rest of it. She wants to be a part of it. And I get wanting to feel worthy, but you have an elected position where your job is to do the work in the background, not to be at the forefront. It's not to seek the limelight for yourself. And she wasn't able to do that. And could it fuck up a double homicide trial? Yeah, it could. Yeah, it could. Could Alec Murdaugh still end up with a new trial down the road? He could. It depends on what the appellate court does. But you know what it's going to do? It's going to cost the state of South Carolina a fuck ton more money to go through this appeal process, because this one is not just an appeal of the state shouldn't have been allowed to get into all the financial crimes evidence. This appeal has some teeth, and it's going to be a problem. And it's going to cost the state a ton of money to litigate this on appeal. And at the end of the day, it doesn't do the victims in this case or their families any good to know that a member of the court staff was so blinded by their desire to be a part of it that they didn't do their job. And while the clerk of court may disagree, and we're going to see that in some of these emails, with Dick and Jim saying her motive was always money, I disagree too. I don't think the motive was always money. But I do think she was absolutely, and Judge Toll was dead ass on saying, intoxicated by the siren song of fame. I mean, it's much more eloquent than clout chasing. It's much more eloquent than saying that this trial became a clout circus. But this trial kind of did become a clout circus. We saw people try to go down to the trial because all of a sudden it was a big trial who didn't even follow the trial. Like, this trial became a moment. And I think on the heels of the Depp Heard trial, everyone was trying to make this a bigger circus than even it was. This case was not as big. And I think people were chasing the level of acknowledgement or attention that happened during the Depp Heard, especially people who felt left out of that attention during the Depp Heard. And I think Becky Boo probably followed that case too and was like, this is going to be amazing. What I will say about large volumes of public attention is you can't control that beast, and it's not always going to go the way you think it's going to go. So if you just do your job, everyone will stand you. Justice Toll came in, did her job like a fucking boss. We stand. Rhonda came in and was like, I tell these jurors that I can count to 14 without using my toes. And that is all I tell them. And if they need anything, they let me know and I get the bailiff to get it for them. That's it. Rhonda's like, I do my job, I go away. I don't doubt when Rhonda was like, Becky said, you need to retire and I need a lake house and we're going to sell this book. I absolutely think that conversation happened. Becky, I think, lied about it on the stand. My opinion. I think Becky lied about that shit all day long on the stand. Did you have this conversation with Rhonda? No. Rhonda's like, the fuck you didn't have this conversation with me. She told me, you know, I'm going to sell a book and I'm going to get a lake house and you're going to retire. And, you know, wouldn't it be better if he was guilty? I think everything that Rhonda said on that stand was true, but I also don't think it was the motive for Becky talking to the jurors. I think that was conversation between colleagues. Have you guys ever been in a pool with your colleagues to buy like lottery tickets? Like the conversations that have around that is like, we need to win this damn lottery. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to do this. We're going to get you that new car. We're going to get you this. I think it was a conversation with coworkers where Becky was being a bit hyperbolic because she's not going to make this, you know, money on the thing. So I think that Rhonda was dead ass on and that Becky didn't want to admit to it, which is gross. And I think Justice Toll clocked it immediately. But I also don't think it shows that her intent was money motivated. It was attention motivated. It was 100% attention motivated. Money comes sometimes subsequent to that. She earned $100,000 on a self-published book. That's not nothing. I mean, that's not nothing. It might not be a lake house. I don't know the price of real estate in South Carolina. It probably wouldn't be a lake house here in Tennessee, but it's not nothing. And she's going to need that money because she's, I imagine, not going to have a job after her term is up. I can't imagine she'll run again. So with all of that, let's get to some of these emails and we'll take a look. I'm going to start at the end and then work our way back to the beginning. So it's going to take a minute for my computer to populate. We're going to work from the bottom up. These were all FOIA dumped by Fitz News. Yes, I know there is beef between Fitz News and the True Sunlight podcast and the rest of it. I don't know what any of that is. I have not gone down any of those rabbit holes. I don't know. I know that it exists. I literally, I can't. Everywhere, everybody has internet beef. I don't know. I can't, I can't keep up. I can't imagine people having beef with Mandy Manny, but there is. I don't know. We don't need to chat about it. I want to let you know, chat, that I am aware, but this is where the emails are coming from. My opinions aside of everybody's internet beef are, aside. One of the things I found in these emails that I really hated, let's just swoop real quick because I don't know if I did. Getting into Clerk of Court Becky Hill's emails. One of the things I really hated about these emails is, one, it was clear that Becky Hill was giving out like her daughter's Venmo information because her daughter, who almost ended up on the jury, was like over where the media was, like performing on the guitar and stuff. That all felt really weird to me. Two, at one point, somebody asked for contact information on the jurors, and she gave out 3 cell phone numbers of 3 of the jurors in her email, in her business email. Look, for people in my real life that have my cell phone number, if they ever give it to someone without asking me first, I lose my fucking mind. Like, you don't give out people's cell phone number, especially from your business email that can be FOIA'd. She was giving out, it had their names and their cell phone numbers. I was disappointed that Fitz News didn't redact that out before they made this public. They could have. They don't have to make a FOIA request public. They could have redacted that out before making it public. I was disappointed that they didn't. But those jurors' cell phone numbers were given out, and it was, I don't know if she asked them for permission to do that, as opposed to her reaching out to the jurors and saying, I will provide them your contact information. No, she was giving out their information to media that wanted to talk to them. I can only hope that she had their permission to provide that information, but even then, it shouldn't have been done from her government email that people can access. What are you doing? This was after verdict. After verdict. So I don't like it. I don't like it. Like, if you need to put people in contact, CC everybody on an email, unless you ask permission. I hated it so much. So I'm not going to get to those parts of the emails. I'm not going to do it. I encourage none of y'all to do it. I can, the internet's going to internet, but I hate it. I hate it so much. Okay. So this last email that was turned over, I've made myself too big. I'm going to have to edit this. I keep messing with the way I am in Streamyard. Why am I the way that I am? I keep messing with it, but it's going to block some of these emails, which I don't like. So at least Streamyard makes it easy to do. All right. All right. That should be, hopefully that's easy for you guys to see. All right. Let's get into some of these emails with Clerk of Court Becky Hill. This last email was Thursday, December 7th. This is encompassing the request period. Please save this to your computer under documents as 2023 DSS unit cost. This is actual work stuff, but that's the last date. These are December 7th. These are actual work things. Hey, Cindy, please email above from Samantha. She attached her receipts for everything she bought for decorating. She has listed her hours and time. We need to pay her for the time involved. With $15 an hour be a good figure. It came up to be $450. I don't know what that's about, and I don't know what was being decorated, and I don't know why that's a county expense, but whatever it is. These are back and forths with the historian of the courthouse and Becky Hill. This is, let's see, from Rebecca Hill, December 12th, 2023, forwarded. And then she is sending it on to a whole bunch of people in the county. FYI, I'm inclined to say yes to this request. This is a public building. I know we have a judge doing DSS day on the 23rd. The request is, I am completing a history of the South Carolina County courthouses, requesting permission to photograph the courthouse. That is court business. Let's see. Tuesday, December 12th, from somebody named Rebecca Pittman to Becky. This is from Mad Hatter Enterprises, the History and Haunting series, Countdown to Murder series. Hi, Becky. I've been keeping abreast of all the allegations flying, and I remember our phone conversation when I interviewed you for my book. You were kind enough to explain the bomb threat commotion during the trial. This was some weeks after the trial ended. Later, you emailed me the message below stating your first intentions on writing a book and asking if you were following the correct channels to set up the necessary back end of writing a book, since you knew I self-published my Murdaugh book, Countdown to Murder, Alex Murdaugh. The date stamp shows May 13th, months after the trial ended. We had another phone conversation after this where you were asking more questions, and it was clear you hadn't begun anything of substance. You were wondering about a cover and chapters, etc. You never mentioned writing a book in our initial phone conversation in March. This must all be very hard. I felt the need to at least offer this in fairness, warm wishes. So somebody reaching out saying there's all these allegations that you were going to write a book before this trial ever started, and that wasn't my experience. Becky Hill responds on December 12th. Remember, these allegations started flying in like September when that was filed. Rebecca, thank you so much for this. I've been advised by my attorneys to remain silent until such time comes to talk. That's wise advice. Just say I can't discuss it. It's been very hard. I've been convicted in the court of public opinion. No innocence until proven guilty. Ma'am, you're not yet being charged with crimes. I know my truth and stand strong some days with my head high. There is much corruption here in the 14th Circuit. I believe you should write a book entitled Countdown to Corruption in the 14th Circuit. Do you see why I wanted to wait till after the hearing to read these emails? I wanted to wait till after we saw Becky on the stand. But there are things verifiable that Becky Hill said on the stand that were contradicted, that were not accurate. They weren't accurate. So we have long said, let's see what happens when there's an evidentiary hearing, but this looks bad. And Becky Hill testified, and you know what? It got fucking worse. It got worse is what it did. It didn't get better for her when she testified. Is she going to cry corruption in the 14th Circuit as her son's being prosecuted for wiretapping? As the IT director in Colton County? Is that where we're going? That's just one email. Let's continue. This is December 5th. No subject to others in the county. Amy and Cindy, good morning. Can you please hear me and keep something close to your heart and in thoughts and prayers? Yes, I know that you have noticed a few things that I have taken down out of the office and put in boxes. Truly, that is only because I am scared. I'm not sure what is happening. Nothing has happened. I'm just downsizing in case I get a phone call or a letter in the mail telling me to step down. I haven't done anything. But with the way that this crazy case is going, I'm not sure of anything except that my God is still in control. No matter what, and that I love you. I will probably see you all soon. I have a good friend who is having surgery for a mastectomy. Well, I hope they've recovered well. Please hang in there and keep this to yourself. If you need me, I'm a phone call away. This is from her county email. But what did you take out of your office in December? Also, law enforcement, who has taken her cell phone and is investigating the wiretapping relating her son, is probably going to want to know. I don't think legally they can ask her to step down, though, because there's no recall provision in South Carolina. But she thought it was coming, and she was removing things from her office. So, all of you asking about Yahoo Mail, I don't know how the public emails in Colton County work. I don't know if she connected her county email to her phone, to a personal phone or the business or the other phone. This one's interesting. I'm wondering if we start from the top or go bottom up. Let's go from the bottom. Started from the bottom. Now we're here. All right. This is from September 19th. Hey, Becky, our Coffee and Crime book club has their monthly meeting last night and picked up copies of your book for next month's meeting. This is September. They are so excited to get to speak with you next month. In anticipation of your author talk, please find our performer agreement. Well done, book club, to have a release. Lawyer approved. Please find our performer agreement and program policy attached to this email. They can be signed and returned anytime before October 1st. This is right as these things were getting filed. September 19th, Brittany, attached is the author agreement for October 16th. I'm excited and looking forward to this event. I'm hoping and praying that my name will be restored by then. Attached, this is from September 19th. Attached is the signed book author agreement from October 16th. I'm so excited and looking forward to this event. I'm hoping and praying that my name will be restored by then from the attack of the Murdaugh defense team. Again, thank you for having me. We are having a great time. We are going to have a great time. I will be in touch closer to the date. Kindest regards. I am Rebecca Becky H. Hill. Can we have a book club? Can we join the book club? We need to put a book club in the app. My whole team going, can we get the notifications working? It's like, but maybe we need a book club section. We'll make a note. Chris is like, no, please, God, no. On Thursday, September 19th, thank you, Becky. I feel certain that everything will turn out all right. Friday, 1st of December. Hi, Brittany. Happy Friday. I want to touch base about the date in January we tentatively talked about for another book signing. I believe it was January 16th. I'm going to need to postpone that. What date did the plagiarism come out? The plagiarism came out like the 26th. I'm going to need to postpone that also. If we can look at April 2024, that would be a better time frame, I believe. Let me know your thoughts. Hope all is well. I imagine putting it off was exactly what needed to happen. There is a Sheriff Hill. I don't know if they're related or not, but this is to the court security supervisor. Becky Hill to Gurry Hill. Good afternoon, Sheriff Hill. I hope you're well. I would like to recommend to you Tim Black as the courthouse security supervisor. He does a great job here, and that would be a great fit, as everyone is already comfortable with him and knows him. I also have a gentleman by the name of Jim Slavic, previously LEO in security, who is now retired, who has put his resume in for a bailiff position. This would help with my positions as bailiff if Mr. Black assumed the role as well. Sincerely, Becky Hill. This is from December 1st. I have never seen, law enforcement in the chat, let me know. I have never seen a clerk of court have input on who gets promoted within the sheriff's department that governs a courthouse. Maybe they do things differently in South Carolina. Sits weird with me that she's like, this is who I want on security. Odd. Just odd to me. Just odd to me. Let's see. This is regarding payments to court business. Let's see. So Sheriff Hill, the response from Sheriff Hill's, I will get back with you. Sent from my phone December 1st. Then from Rebecca Hill, no longer is this good afternoon, Sheriff Hill. This is good morning, buddy. It has come to my ears that a gentleman by the last name of Mizell is coming to the courthouse as court security December 18th. Are you able to meet any time today with the courthouse staff? If this is the case, I would like for us to all talk and have clear intentions and lines and duties of the bailiffs and the deputies. How is this your responsibility? Doesn't generally the sheriff's department set their policies and then tell you what they're doing? Like, for me, it feels like her fingers are in all of the soups. And that the sheriff did not want to consult with Becky on who was getting promoted. But it feels like lots of fingers in lots of soups. Those are business reports. These are business reports. Let's see. This is more emails on the business reports and the decorating. I don't know what the decorating is about. These are court records. Let's see. This is from December 2nd. From Melissa Gordon, photographer, to Tommy Hill, Rebecca Hill, Neil Gordon, the co-author, Melissa Gordon, the photographer, BDJ website, Behind the Doors of Justice website. This is from December 2nd at 11:50 a.m. From her work account. Becky Hill has a private email. The private email is Beckaboo. But look, these are not things you send from your work email. Hi all, December 2nd. As you requested, Becky, I have unpublished the BehindTheDoorsOfJustice.com website, see attached. And I will go and do an accounting of the invoices charged to WRM LLC and get anything that is incorrect corrected. These are the finances of the published book. I'm assuming Tommy Hill is Rebecca Hill's husband. I just don't know. That's maybe that would make logical sense. Although you did not request it, I have chosen to pause the Murdaugh group and hide the group, make it invisible, since it has the Behind the Doors of Justice name is attached to it, even though I started it as a hobby type Murdaugh enthusiast page. These are Facebook groups. I didn't know there were Murdaugh enthusiast Facebook groups. A weird way to say it to me. It feels like it's best for right now. I welcome your thoughts on that, of course, and I'm sorry to each of you, Neil included, that I did that without getting your input. See attached photos on what I did with the unpublishing. I'm currently holding online with GoDaddy to get the placeholder image of the book cover that is still up on the site address taken off, and we'll update everything once that is accomplished. So shit is hitting the fan December 2nd. For those of you that don't remember what shit was hitting the fan December 2nd, it is that the photographer had photos released that were photos of Alec Murdaugh in his cell that could not have been properly procured because he was not to be photographed in his cell. And it was alleged and accused that Becky Hill had given this photographer access to the security footage, and that's who had leaked those photos. This photographer had access to stuff that was on the sheriff's security monitor. And we heard testimony from Rhonda on Monday that a reporter was given access into the area in the well where they could see things. So would it surprise me if Melissa Gordon was during the trial granted access to take photos of the security screen? I don't know, but those are from the cell. Those were exclusive photos that were promoted, and then people started calling out this photographer like, how did you get access to those? You shouldn't have. So a lot of you saw these. I was wondering how those images got out into the public. This is how. And so then they took down, it was out in the Facebook post and all, and it was like, who gave this photographer access to this? Oh, this photographer's husband is the co-author of Becky Hill's book. It had to have been Becky Hill. So that was the photo. That is a brief summary of the photo scandal that was going on early in December. This is before the December discovery of the plagiarism, that came about because of this FOIA request and this email dump. That's how the plagiarism came to be. Fitz News requested the business emails. You can make Information Act requests for public officials' emails. They made that request for Becky Hill's emails, and Becky Hill's co-author was reading through the emails. I can't blame Neil Gordon for being snoopy at all. I am also a very curious cat. And if somebody's like, hey, these are the emails, I'm like, let me see the emails. So Neil Gordon, the co-author, is the one who discovered the plagiarism through the chain of emails. So these emails are happening before the plagiarism is discovered, but just briefly before the plagiarism is discovered. This is December 2nd at 12:12 p.m. So a half an hour-ish afterwards. Update. Website has a basic coming soon banner, and there is no photo of the book cover. Facebook page for Murdaugh in the Low Country Behind the Doors of Justice has been paused and is invisible to anyone who's not a member. The only other option for Facebook page would be delete it. And that, of course, would not look good. The photos don't look good. From Becky Hill, Saturday, December 2nd. All sounds great. Thank you. December 5th from Michael DeWitt at the Hampton County Guardian. Good afternoon. I hope everyone is doing well in the midst of all this. An unofficial source sent me this document attached. I know that you may not be able to release anything to me, but can you at least confirm that this is your response and a valid document? Thank you, Michael. On December 5th, Becky Hill responded, Michael, greetings, and I hope you are well. If you will continue with using the source sent the document, yes, it is my response. This is about something else. Because around this time, all of the ethics complaints for Becky Hill leaked. And I still have mixed feelings about that. Ethics investigations are generally not public information, but also tea. All of those got leaked. And then the responses of Becky Hill to those ethics investigations got leaked. I have not reviewed those yet because I was not sure that those were authentic, and I wasn't going to reach out to Becky Hill or her lawyers to ask if they were authentic. These emails, to me, given the timing, seem to indicate that the leaked responses to the ethics investigation are in fact Becky Hill's responses to the ethics investigations. So now I might think twice about covering that. Because it seems that Becky Hill is confirming that the leaked response to the ethics investigation is actually her response. Not, even though it's leaked, it is the response. And I would suspect, speculation, that those were leaked because the ethics investigation never should have been leaked. I covered the ethics investigation. Those all seemed official. Once those were leaked, I think the only way Becky Hill's side gets hurt in all of this is to then leak the response to the ethics investigation. And now the whole fucking thing is just out there. And I think that's the only way she could have done it. She couldn't put out a statement because she's pending all this other stuff. And this is before the plagiarism came to light. So I've seen a number of people ask in the chat, and I see so many of you in the chat, like meditation and motivation, answering. At the end of December, it came to light that Becky Hill had plagiarized the, not the foreword, but the preface to their book, Behind the Doors of Justice. It came to light because of this email dump. There are emails back and forth from a BBC reporter who went to put in Rebecca, a editor or publisher with BBC, or an editor or whatever with BBC, and instead Becky Hill's email populated and accidentally sent Becky Hill drafts of their article about sitting in on the Murdaugh trial. And Becky Hill took that draft, reconfigured it, very, very slightly, and used it as the preface of their book. And I went through the two, and it is like line for line. Becky Hill came out and admitted to the plagiarism and then apologized, and you saw her get nailed on the stand by Poot, who did a great job at that part of the cross-examination. Becky Hill's like, I admitted to that and I apologize for that. And he's like, so it makes it okay then? Really? Becky Hill's like, I apologized. Why are we still talking about this? It's like, because you made $100,000 off of a book and you plagiarized the entire preface to it from the BBC. The BBC's not thrilled. The BBC hasn't seemed to sue anybody yet, but I wonder if the BBC's having second thoughts after Becky Hill testified that she made $100,000. Who knows what the BBC will choose to do? So if you will continue with using the source sent the document, yes, it is my response. It doesn't sound like Becky is surprised that her answer leaked. I am sure someone connected to her leaked it to get her side out there. So it's not really leaked. It's placed, right? That was a confidential placement. So unofficial source sent me this document attached. I know you can't release anything. Can you confirm it's yours? And she confirms that it is. Let's see. This is county work. It seems and forwarded emails, which is why we're going through some of the things and not all of the things. Some of the actual work stuff is actual work stuff that we're doing. Some of the stuff, she emailed attachments and the attachments aren't attached to this dump of emails, but she would forward things to her son and be like, can you print this? Which was odd to me. I'm like, why are you sending the county IT director your emails saying, can you print this? Unless maybe she doesn't have a printer at the courthouse, but that seems odd. A lot of people asking if there's been new filings and whether or not those motions are filed. She was very helpful in sending those things out to people. It seems that she liked they would get those heads up that new filings had happened, sometimes without even asking. She very much was peddling influence during the trial to get people seats and make sure that people had seats and could come to the side door and knock. So even though the trial said that there were limited amount of media that had media passes and seats reserved, everyone else was first come, first serve. That is not what happened here. It was not first come, first serve. There were people who went and like knocked twice on the back door or the side door and were let in and given seats. And then the rest of the public had to go. Wait outside. So she was definitely involved. So these are filings. This is getting into November now, and we don't have anything more about everything that came forward because it was a mess. But Becky Hill was giving out bonuses and deciding who got bonuses. I can only imagine that that's a proper part of her job. So even in November, they are still wrapping up trial stuff, even though the verdict came back in March. Let's see. We will be purchasing the decorations out of the Xerox account. This is from Becky Hill, Friday, November 7th. Ms. Hill, I apologize for taking so long to respond. Here, let's get to Becky's email. Hi, John. Happy Thursday. Hope you're doing well. Please give me your opinion on the best way to proceed with this. The outside decorations, such as garland and lights, need replacing every several years. We believe this year is the year for it to be replaced. So I'm going to send Gary Hale to the W Borough Walmart to see if they have enough of what we need, which is a garland and white outside lights. This seems to be to decorate the courthouse for Christmas. Otherwise, they're going to go to Lowe's. Where is the money coming from? John said, I apologize for taking so long. I went back over the last 10 years and looked through the expenses in the clerk of court in both the general fund and federal funds to see how Christmas decorations have been handled. Given that the courthouse is a prominent building in Walterboro, I understand the desire to decorate the building as compared to other county buildings, which are typically not decorated. What I have found is over the last 10 years, there have been no county or federal funds spent on replacement of Christmas decorations at the courthouse. I am unsure how Mr. Grant handled the replacement of decorations as may have been needed, though my thought is that she used her clerk funds, office or Xerox, since these are at the clerk's use for any office-related expenditure as part of next year's budget. You can request a separate line budget item. So the clerk has petty cash that can be used to cover Christmas decorations to kind of close that loop on what the money for decorations were and who was doing the decorating. Let's see. This is forwarding to reporters the attached, this is an email with the unlocked copy. I'm waiting to hear her back from the GS clerk about a clocked copy. For attached, please find the filing, state's response, defendant's motion to new trial from the state's attorney general. So some people would get updates when those filings happen, some wouldn't. Let's see. This is from Laura Collins, November 7th. P.S. I sent a follow-up, but don't think it's sent. I was on the subway, just saying I really do appreciate you keeping me in the loop on this and the evidentiary hearing. I'm sure you will be very glad when this is all put to bed. Laura, yes, it's not a natural way of living for me. I like to live life by the 4 agreements. Y'all, I don't know what happened. And it won't. Let me see. Y'all, my computer, it's not my computer. My browser crashed. Sorry. My browser completely crashed. So, good God, y'all. It can't handle the courthouse Becky bullshit of it all. We recovered quickly though. Can we get a quick 10 out of 10 for how fast we were able to bring it back? That's what we get when we're trying to go through 2,000 pages of emails. I need to find a better way to do it. Hold on. I need to bring that back up. Damn it. It was not a dramatic pause. I got my browser completely crashed. Now I've got to go find that page again. We're going to have to seek and find. The internet won't let me be great today. Damn it. I know. We're going to definitely look for the 4 agreements. It should get us back to where we're at. I should have split this into two documents. Let's control F ourselves into the future and see if we can find where Becky Hill said the 4 agreements. The 4 agreements is a book. Thank you all for the 10 out of 10. F in the chat for my browser. We have control F'd ourselves, and then it crashed. But it is a 2,000 page document, and that is part of the problem. As I said, I should have split it into multiple parts. I did not. I will in the future, but trying to control find is crashing the browser. There we go. Damn it. Come back. We had it. We lost it. We had it again. We lost it again. Oh, come on, Firefox. My computer can handle this, but can Firefox? All right. Chat, we are at page 21,018. But we were at 2134, I think, but now we're up to date on the full email chain, which is good. Let's see. Let's go to the next. All right. Here we are. Let's continue. Oh my God. Streaming is not for the faint of heart. I'll tell you what. I also scared my cat yelling when my browser crashed. Actually scared the cats who were just chilling in the room, and they went scrambling as I was like, no, not that. I'm just gonna make sure a few other programs are closed out just in case my RAM needs a little love. Well, Fred started running first. George follows Fred. So that's where we're at. All right. The browser was like, I'm done with this BS. Yep. The browser is out, but Fred bolted. Christina, thank you for the memberships. I appreciate it. That is incredibly kind. Okay, let's get into this email with the live my life by the 4 agreements from Clerk of Court, Becky Hill. Thank you, chat, for tracking the pages I'm on. I guess we're going to need to do that. Fingers crossed. Okay, so this is between her and Laura Collins from the Mail Online. Just saying, I appreciate you keeping me on the loop on the evidentiary hearing. I'm sure you will be very glad when this is all put to bed. I don't know if Courthouse Becky's glad about this or not. Laura, yes, it's not a natural way of living for me, and I like to live life by the 4 agreements. Remaining quiet has been both positive and negative. However, remaining quiet has given so many the impression that they can go on believing the lies that have been set forth by Dick and Jim. Every single word they have uttered has been lies.
How do lawyers, senators, i.e., get away with something like this? It's just corruption. And sadly, Many people don't want to search for the truth. I have a lot to say. Lol. Thanks for your time to listen and correspond. I think we could be great friends. Stay warm and safe. Kind regards, Becky Hill. Lol. Lol. Oh, Becky.
I don't think everything Dick and Jim said was accurate. But I also don't think that every single word was a lie. It's somewhere in between. But ma'am, how do lawyers and senators get away with something like this? Ma'am, this is a month before it's revealed that you plagiarized. So isn't plagiarism lying for pecuniary gain? Isn't that what plagiarism is? Like, what? Ma'am, I understand that a lot of what Dick and Jim said is embiggened for impact. But I 100% believe after that evidentiary hearing that the clerk of court said shit to the jurors. 100% believe it. Absolutely 100% believe it. So go ahead and live your life by the 4 agreements. But pot. This is the kettle calling, says Luann Eva. The chat is like, isn't plagiarism not one of the 4 agreements? Yeah, isn't plagiarism theft? There's no literary license for that kind of theft. So let's keep going, shall we? This is the September 19th, the Coffee and Crime Book Club. We love that the book club had a release. That was about the other book signing. That was a duplicate email that we already had. Somebody, her son, Jeff Hill. No. Is that a different Hill? No, I think that's her son. Subject, Somerville Medical Center IT director, and some link to something from her, or she is sending to her son in November. Thursday, November 23rd. Hi, Becky. First of all, I wanted to say how much I enjoyed your book. It was awesome. As a South Carolinian, I'm interested in courthouse tours. Can you give me details on hours and days they're available? From a private citizen. Hi, Morgan. The Colton County Courthouse is a beautiful courthouse. This is true. Lots of rich history and restoration, and the restoration of 2008 has maintained and preserved much of its patina. You are welcome to come and tour the courthouse between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. during the work week. If there is court going on, it will limit the touring in certain areas of the courthouse and the number of people who can give you a tour. You can call ahead or email before you come in. We look forward to seeing you. Thanks for your interest. This is more about the unpublishing of the book. So that's a duplicate email from December. Some of these are a bit out of order, but email dumps are not always in order. There's no indexing of it. These are regarding court business and regarding DSS court business. Let's see. This is from a member of the public, it seems, September 5th. Dear Ms. Rebecca Hill, I hope this email finds you well. I'm writing to express my sincere hope that the recent accusations against you alleging tampering with the Murdaugh murderers trial are false. I understand that such allegations can be incredibly distressing, and I believe in the importance of due process and the presumption of innocence until proven guilty. As the clerk of court of Colton County, South Carolina, you hold a position of great responsibility in ensuring the fairness and integrity of our justice system. Your dedication to upholding the law and serving the community has been evident in your years of service. 3 years, though. She was elected in 2020. I trust that the legal process will thoroughly investigate these accusations and the truth will ultimately prevail. It is essential for all individuals involved to have a fair and impartial opportunity to present their side of the story. Only through the transparent and just process can we ensure that justice is served. I want to encourage you to stay strong during this challenging time and remain confident in the legal system's ability to address and resolve such matters appropriately. I wonder how they feel now. I hope that you can find support from colleagues, friends, in your community during this difficult period. It's a very kind email. Please know my thoughts are with you, and not all of them are kind. There's some that aren't. And I sincerely hope the accusations are proven false, allowing you to continue your valuable service to our community with the trust and respect you have earned over the years. So that's from Rebecca. Becky Hill responds to Rebecca, thank you for your support back on September 5th. And even now today, this is from November 8th. I knew that the allegations against me were 100% false, but my attorneys advised me to remain quiet until we could gather our evidence together. I listened to them. If an evidentiary hearing is held, I will be able to speak after that. Becky Boo, we would sure love to hear what you have to say. I imagine your attorneys are reminding you to also remain silent. So until then, I remain dedicated to the position of clerk of court and will trust the judicial process. I wonder if we're going to hear from Becky Hill, because back in November, Becky Hill was like, when this evidentiary process is over, if it happens, I will absolutely have something to say. Let's see. This is from November 17th. Dear Miss Hill, you don't know me. I reside in Mount Pleasant. I am a Charleston native. Witnessing the Murdaugh trial, I was truly impressed by the grace and hospitality you exhibited on a global scale. Thank you for portraying South Carolina in such a positive light. I was deeply disturbed by the accusations leveled against you by Dick Harpootlian and the harm that it has inflicted on your character. You certainly did not deserve such abuse and defamation. I strongly encourage you to take the stand and defend yourself. I recommend reaching out to an attorney who can help restore your name. Columbia-based attorney Eric Bland, a steadfast supporter of yours, would likely be enthusiastic about representing you in a defamation case. Please consider contacting him. As a South Carolina citizen, I am disheartened by Dick Harpootlian's actions and want you to know that I believe in the purity of your heart. Sincerely, Yvette. Response on Friday, November 17th. Hi, Yvette. Thanks so much. I needed this today. Maybe I should reach out to Eric Bland. I believe good does win out in the end, although sometimes the end takes a while in coming. I am thankful for your belief in me, and you don't even know me. It's been tough, but by the grace of God, I am keeping my head high. Thank you. Kind regards, Becky. Joy in the chat said, EDB, you'd be a great judge. I would be a terrible judge because I do not control my face well. And bullshit would be written across my face when people say things that are bullshit. I could not. I am a great commentator. I do this well. I love doing this. I will give you commentary on everything from sports that I don't even know that well to reality television. I was struggling at the premiere of Vanderpump Rules because I was trying not to talk, but also I was like, ooh, I like the new editing style. Ooh, I like the way they did the intro with something about her first. My brain runs commentary on things. And if I had to pay attention to court proceedings and my brain running commentary and not able to talk, it would make me crazy. So my face has no chill. I would be a terrible judge. But I appreciate that you appreciate my demeanor. I love doing this. This is from Laura Robinson to Becky Hill, Wednesday, November 22nd. Hello, dear friend. No, from Becky Hill to Laura. Hello, dear friend. How are you doing? I'm sure you've read the newest headlines. I would like to talk to you about a few things. When you get a minute, can you call my daughter's cell phone? SLED has seized my phone and I won't have it for a while. Hope you are doing well. So we had wondered about the seizing of the phone by SLED. And the emails circa November 22nd confirm that SLED seized the emails, or SLED seized the personal, it seems to be the only phone of Becky Hill. Can a judge use cursey words? Generally not from the bench, unless the judge is saying something like, excuse me, you can't say that in my courtroom. But no. Emily, didn't you get yelled at by a judge because of your face more than once? I also got yelled at for making a jury laugh once. And the judge told me, quote, I am the only one allowed to be funny in this courtroom, Miss Baker. Mm-hmm. No, I could be a Judge Judy judge. I could do that. I could be a TV judge. I could not be an actual judge. Judge. Life judge, no. But yes, I did get in trouble for my face on occasion. Let's see. This is sending stuff about the case to ABC News. This is, hello, dear friend. How are you doing? Sled has seized my phone. A response is today okay or wait until tomorrow? Good morning. I am home now and getting ready for Thanksgiving. My husband's phone number is this. I'll be getting a new phone today or tomorrow. But until then, you can call my husband's phone, XOXO. Again, confirming in November that Becky Hill's cell phone was confiscated by SLED and was having people contact her by her husband's phone and her daughter's phone, which may then become subject to whatever. Let's see. This is November 7th. Laura, it's not a natural way of living for me. I like to live by the 4 agreements. This is the follow-up on that email thread. Tuesday, November 7th from Laura. I agree. I know you really don't have a choice right now, but when this is all over, you'll be free to speak if you want to, and I'd love you to consider speaking with me, but that's for another day. Have a good week. Talk soon, Laura. You know I will. Thanks, Becky. Laura, when is this happening? Please let us know. Jolene's like, XOXO, gossip girl. Yep. I would like to see Emily's comment, unknown sports. The way I want to commentate like the Winter Olympics. It would be so much fun. All right. And then, oh gosh, how long have we been streaming? Almost 3 hours. Sorry. Let's see. Those are about filings from the AG's office. Let's see. Hi, Becky. This is from November 28th. I used to be a news editor, and I follow on TikTok a woman who goes by this account. Anyway, she is slandering you on her lives at 5:10 p.m. Eastern almost daily. If I were you, I would have my attorney send a letter to cease and desist. Look, there are citizens reaching out to Becky Hill out of genuine concern, like genuine concern for her. And I think that that is incredibly touching. Knowing what we know now, I wonder if some of them were like, oh, girl. But the reason I wanted to go through some of these emails is because there really was genuine concern and circling of the wagons locally around the clerk of court. People were like, I can't believe that people are saying this about you. They aren't even waiting to hear your side. The thing in all of that that gives me hope is that there are more people interested in waiting to hear both sides. Well, we've now heard both sides. We've heard from Becky Hill. That didn't go well for her, but it's nice seeing people being compassionate and protective and wanting to wait until they hear all of the things. And I really do appreciate that. There are people who are genuinely kind. I saw an interview with Becky's co-author, and the amount of earnings he said was substantially less than 100,000 Becky testified to. She even overinflated the importance of ill-gotten gains. Oof. October, Edith. Oof. That's rough. Lyndon said it's sweet they really gave her the benefit of the doubt. And I think that it's fair to wait until we hear all sides and say, if these things are true, they're bad. If they're not true, then bad on the person spreading the misstatements. Let's see what happens. And that's what I love about this community. You always hold off. But Becky is just leaning into this in her emails. I'm very thankful for you and your willingness to help a stranger. I looked at her account and have sent the info to my attorneys. Kind regards. I mean, it's good looking out. People are trying to look out for Becky Hill. Becky Hill wasn't really looking out for Becky Hill, though, in all of this. Or maybe Becky Hill was looking out for Becky Hill so much that she was asking her son to help with the good looking out too. I don't know. We're going to find out. And crashed. I should have. Wolf Kiara said, or people don't trust Poot at all. That is part of it. I want to see the what the fuck did you do emails. I'm sure those are coming in presently. Not that I encourage anybody reaching out to somebody's work email. I absolutely don't, but I'm sure some of those are coming in. There was one email in here. That reached out and was like, I've seen the allegations against you. What the fuck? I am so disappointed. There were a few of those in here, but not very many. Jicky said, I might feel betrayed if I was on Becky Hill's side. Glad I didn't lean either side. I mean, I feel like we just waited and we're like, if these allegations are true, it's really bad. It's really bad. Justille said, who is this bashing her? I don't know. I didn't look at the TikTok account and I wasn't going to go into it. Becky said she made 100K, but didn't she have to share that cash with the co-writer? Yes. Yes, absolutely. So with all of that, this keeps crashing. Those were the emails I wanted to go over the most. The ones that A, confirmed that the clerk of court's cell phone was confiscated by SLED, and B, the ones where she is talking about everything against her being lies, slander, and more lies. So with that, you guys have lots of questions. God, why is Pokimane on my browser? What is my browser doing? Like, we're streaming. We're fun. What is going on? Is Pokimane streaming on YouTube now? Is that the thing? Is everyone now catching up to the fact that YouTube is a bomb-ass streaming platform, especially when you use StreamYard, because it makes it easy? And that's literally the reason I stream, is because Octo and I were talking about streaming. And I'm like, I don't want to have to edit my face. It gives me like actual dysmorphia issues when I'm like, my eyes are different sizes and I can't look at my face anymore. Like, I can't edit my own face. So I was like, streaming is going to be better. And he's literally Googling, he's like, this will make it easy. I'm like, this will make it easy. And it's StreamYard, and then off to the races. And now I love being a StreamYard partner because StreamYard is bae. And even if you don't live stream on StreamYard, you know what I learned? Here, I'm going to tell you real quick what I learned. And then we're going to go to Q&A. I was recording ad spots for this week's podcast, and I should have probably saved this for the members, and I didn't. I was recording ads. I record the podcast in StreamYard. I record my ad spots in StreamYard. I literally record everything in StreamYard. And if you're not live streaming but recording, you can pause your recording or you can do over your recording, which is a newer feature that you can literally like do over your recording. So I got a little too cheeky with one of our sponsors. Can anyone guess which sponsor my ad got too spicy about? My ad got too spicy with one of our sponsors from the podcast. I'll just ask the class. So my sponsor read had gotten way too spicy. No, this was for this week's podcast. Sponsor read had gotten a little too cheeky, and I had to just like do over. But it's great because I don't have to like close it and delete it. I can just like, nope, we're going to start it over. So I had to start over my ad read for Tushy because I had gotten way too far in the weeds talking about Tushy the bidet. So my toned down one is the one that lives. Maybe next time I will save those for the members only, like the ad read that will never see the light of day. So got way too spicy with my Tushy ad read. It literally just went like, nope, take it again. So instead of Miguelina having to edit, me going, no, I hated that one, I'm doing it again. No, I hated that one, I'm doing it again. I can just do them over right in StreamYard. It has made my workflow so much better. I love it. So even if you don't stream, if you create content, you can now stream horizontal or vertical on Instagram from StreamYard. I can stream to multiple YouTube channels if I ever needed to. I'm so happy with it. I've just been so happy. So now let us go. I already found the Tushy ad so vanilla. It was. This one was. This one was the mild one. This one was not the spicy one. We'll talk about spicy butts another day. All right, let's get to, for everyone who didn't watch the podcast, they're like, what the fuck? You got to listen to the Emily Show. All right, we're going to get to some of your questions as we are like just decompressing from this week, decompressing from the Murdaugh of it all, decompressing from the murdacity. Look, the evidence is in. I agree with Justice Toll. I don't know how I feel about the law in this area. I'm still like, I see both sides of the law. Like, the law doesn't want to waste jurors' time if something really isn't super substantive, and appearance of impropriety is not always enough to push us past that line. But God, it just, When you work for the government and when you are a government employee involved in the justice system, any impropriety really does feel like the government pushing on the scales of justice against a defendant. And that feels awful. And a lot of you at the end of Monday, and there were so many of you here on Monday, and I appreciate you. At the end of Monday, a lot of you were like, I didn't necessarily want him to get a new trial. It's a waste of time and resources. I think it'll come up with the same result. But this still feels gross. And it does. It does feel gross. It feels that, and that's that appearance of impropriety, right? It doesn't feel right that the clerk of court is just like talking willy-nilly in foolish and fleeting statements, as Justice Toll said, to the jurors. Does it warrant a new trial? The courts are going to have to sort out the law. Under the law that Justice Toll cites as the law of the land, no. Under other laws of the land, maybe. So could this all come back around? Maybe. Is this going to be on appeal forever? Yes. But it feels bad. And the reason it feels bad is because the clerk shouldn't be doing any of this. And that's the different thing between looking at the legal standard. Justice Toll's ruling is right under the law of South Carolina. It's the legally correct ruling. The legally correct ruling doesn't always feel like justice. And so at the end of the stream on Monday, I said, this is not a great day for justice. This clerk should have never done any of that. What I wanted to hear going into that Monday hearing was that the clerk of court didn't do these things. I was looking for you didn't really do this though, right? And that's not what we got. We did not get, you didn't really do this though. What we got is, you did this though. What the fuck are you doing? And that is not okay. And that left a lot of people with that legality, morality split. Like, clerk of court Becky Hill was not doing her job ethically or with integrity. Do I think it was financially motivated? No. I don't. I think it was attention motivated. But I don't like it at all. I don't think it's to be celebrated. I don't think it's a win that what we learned was that this judge found that Becky Hill was talking to this jury. I don't think that's a win. I think it's awful. But under the law, the ruling was correct. The law could change. The appellate courts could be like, no, we don't like, when it's the state, when it's the government entity that's doing the wrong, when it's an elected official, when it's a bailiff, when it's a prosecutor, the sanction against that needs to be higher, because the government already has things weighted in their favor. So the sanction against the government needs to be stronger than the sanction against someone running into at the Publix being like, are you on that jury? Oh my God, totally seems guilty. Like, it's a different thing. Talking about the case and a juror talking about a case with their spouse, they should still be kicked off the jury. But it's a different level of wrong than when people that are literally active in the wheels of justice are doing it. And that's where that breakdown is. Legally correct still doesn't feel like the right result, but I don't know if that means I want everyone to get a fair trial. Do I think this is why Alec Murdaugh didn't get a fair trial? No. Do I think he got a fair trial? It seems so, but I'm waiting to see more. The behavior of clerk of court Becky Hill left me with a lot of questions. The fact that Becky told Rhonda that she gave a juror a ride home and Becky Hill denied it and the juror denied it doesn't feel right. The fact that some of the jurors talked about conversations and some of the jurors were like, I never saw it. 2 jury rooms might account for that. But there was insinuation that the jurors were talking about this case before deliberations and all the jurors denied it. And there's no way to really get into that and ask more about that. And I don't like that either. Michael, J. Michael RN, thank you for the gifted memberships. 20 gifted memberships. That's incredibly generous. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who gifted memberships today. Christina Lopez gifted 10 memberships. Thank you. Angel gifted 1 membership. Thank you. Fiona gifted 5 memberships. Thank you. Sue gifted 1 membership. Thank you. we're going to get into all of your questions. Sorry for my rant. I just felt like we needed to like decompress. Like we just needed to decompress. I don't think we're done. Let's see. They let a cop's brother who was active in the investigation on the jury, for fuck's sake, says Morgan. The trial was a mess. It never should have taken place there. The defense didn't ask for it to move. And the defense and the prosecution let that juror stay. So that bothers me less than it bothers most, because the attorneys had the opportunity to bring that up to the judge and they both let it ride, which is weird. Why were there 2 jury rooms to begin with? It was explained that the jury rooms are small, and so they had 2 rooms so that everybody had enough space. So that, but the attorneys allowed it to happen, and that's about all we can do. So anything new with the texting judge? Not yet, but we might get to that next week. We got a lot to do next week. Welcome to all the new members. Somebody was saying that juror was related to the canine cop. And I think that's why it was allowed, Kelsey, because the canine officer was so minimally involved, like showed up and then made all the internet fall in love with the photos of him and his dog. And that was about it. That was about it. The internet got real thirsty, but the amount of involvement that Officer Chad had in that case was pretty minimal. It's a good thing I have the Law Nerd app. YouTube decided to unsubscribe me. Sarah knew. A, thank you for the plug for the Law Nerd app. And B, YouTube does that sometimes. I still don't understand why. Nobody can explain it to me, but it does happen, which is why, I, other than being vain and my 11-year-old clowning me that I am not a real YouTuber because I do not have 1 million subscribers, I take it all with a grain of salt. Hello from the Netherlands. Hello, Matilda. Madre said, I need you to discuss the defense attorney in the Oxford case. I do not cover school shooters. I have seen some of the stuff going on with the Oxford case. Maybe when the case is over, we will talk about some of the lawyer shenanigans. I saw some of the clip where the attorneys were talking about whether the defense attorney was crying. The defense attorney is sitting there going, outside the presence of the jury, of course, to the judge, Your Honor, this is horrific stuff. And it's like, I just feel it too much in my soul from the work that I have done. It's very, very hard to cover. And the judge is like, this is horrific. I'll cry at 6 o'clock. Like, that's how bad the trial is, that the judge is like, I will cry at 6 o'clock. But they've taken what's a very serious case, it seems, and it's become a bit of a sideshow. But maybe at the end, I will take some of the clips of what's happened with the attorneys and not the substance of the case and cover that if we want to talk about the attorney. I have cried in court. I hated that I have cried in court, but there were times when I, in court, had tears like running down my face. And I would generally turn my face away from the jury and try to wipe them off of my face. It is not great. But somewhere after I have kids, that part of me broke and I literally could not control it. But theatrical loud crying is not court appropriate. Not court appropriate at all. Even sniffles, you got to ask for a break. But I have definitely had to, move my face away from the jury to make sure that I could not be visibly seen. There are times I've had to put my head down. There are times in courtrooms where you can feel the real emotion from people. Even through the screen, watching some of the trials, I have felt real emotion from people on the stand, and it has absolutely choked me up. And it's always interesting which witnesses you feel emotion from and which ones you don't. It's one of those human mechanisms jurors can feel too when they're in the room. They can feel the testimony and whether it's real or not. There were no reports that when Amber Heard was testifying, that jury was crying. But there have been reports in other cases that when testimony has happened, the jurors were crying. There are some times that the emotion cannot be forestalled. So we will see after that trial if we want to talk about the lawyer shenanigans. But I'm not going to cover the substance of the case. when the judge is like, it is horrific and I'll cry later, it's like, I literally cannot. I have done for too long. Ann Bell, good to see you. I'm hosting my mother-in-law's 50th anniversary dinner, which turned into a weekend-long event. Thanks to you, I've scheduled my own self-care moment with a glass of wine on Saturday after all 4 guests leave. Yay. You might need more than a self-care moment after it's turned in. Like, you know, it's not just a little dinner party. It's their 50th anniversary. You might need more self-care than just that. Desiree said, question if one juror said she was influenced by the other jurors and then also said she was influenced by Becky, isn't it possible she was also influenced by Poot at all in her testimony and statement? The judge did not find that juror's testimony alone persuasive. We'll see what the appellate court says. But Justice Toll was the finder of fact in that hearing, and the appellate court has to go with the facts as Justice Toll found them. But yes, it is possible. It's also possible that in hindsight, that jurors got second thoughts about their verdict. And that happens, which is why you don't keep polling jurors for eternity, because it can happen. But at the time, it is. Camilla said, submitted master's thesis today, here to celebrate. I mean, we're going to celebrate with you too, Camilla. That's a huge accomplishment. Congratulations. Sugarbag said, Lawnard's greater than everyone. I think so. Charlie Raven said, is it not sus that juror Z said that there was more that was said, but she couldn't remember them after court progressed? She suddenly remembered and wanted to enhance her testimony. It was weird. That was odd for me. It was, yes, but we don't know what it is. You know when we'll get to hear it? When it gets appealed. We'll see it on the appellate record. Hope for the best, expect the worst, and don't waste energy on things you can't control. John is giving us the rules for life. I hope that's the 4 agreements. Emily's girly tears voice is the best. I mean, it's the same voice on the phone with my friends when I'm explaining things. We just are what we are. Question, would you consider covering the kooky legal moments in the Crumbly mom trial? I respect you choosing not to cover kid stuff, but perhaps a way to focus on specific courtroom antics. A lot of you have asked, maybe yes, when there is a supercut of the lawyer's shenanigans after the trial is over. Thank you, Emily, for all that you do, from streaming to being open about mental health. I suffer with severe mental health where I can't leave my home. Danielle, I'm glad you're here in a community. You are not alone. The world is hard, but you've got this. And the Lawnards are always here. They're always here for community and conversation. Nishay, good to see you another year. Yay, we Lawnards got your back. I know you guys do. EDB, you just hit me in the feels. Thank you. You're welcome. Yet Spotify pays pennies on the dollar for each song played. That needs to change too. Carrie B, I'm sure the negotiations will happen. Spotify is changing some of their exclusivity. I saw that the Call Her Daddy podcast is no longer going to be exclusive on Spotify because they didn't re-up their exclusivity, which is a very interesting thing. Miguelina, yeah, go ahead and end the poll. Kim said, my husband is in the military and they told them they need to delete TikTok from their phone and encourage their family to delete it too, due to it being a security risk. I covered in the past the different states that required no TikTok on like work phones and stuff like that. I don't necessarily think work phones should have social media on them anyway, because it can be a security risk, but TikTok is a large security risk. I do not have it on my main phone. Judy said, sent you a DM regarding Dave Matthews in Wisconsin this summer. Judy, I did put in for tickets for that show. I'm sure the team will flag it for me because the dates in Deer Creek conflicted. My brother works as a federal contractor and his household was required to delete TikTok and also ban it from my home as well. It's a whole thing. Christy Richardson says, TikTok creator here. I do travel content, and even when talking, I have to attach music to get it pushed, even if I turn the volume all the way down. It is a very real part of TikTok that TikToks without music do not perform as well. I've done that on TikTok too. I don't really create on TikTok anymore. TikTok doesn't pay me. At some point, you guys, just for full transparency, at some point, those kind of quick updates that I do are just going to be in the Lawnard app. They're just going to be housed in the app because then the people who want to see them, and that's what it is. So if you guys want to be kept in the loop that way, it's really going to live in the Lawnard app, and that stuff's just going to get uploaded directly there, and then you've got it. Fiery Patriot says, we see this with up and coming bands that want streamers to use their music because it gets people to ask, who is this? But their labels strike people. And that's a frustrating thing too. The balance between discoverability and getting paid. Because you can't pay people in exposure, but for bands, exposure is needed to even get to the point where someone will pay you. UMG is building a $1.2 billion casino where I live in coastal MS, the concerts we will have. That sounds pretty cool. Angela said, oh my God, I use lip smackers at 11 as my full beauty routine. I mean, same. We'll talk about Sephora in a minute. Oh, I needed to look at the docket for Murdaugh too. Soul, it's good to see you. Yes. Soul, thank you for chiming in. We might need to all circle back and have this conversation. My boyfriend is a UMG artist, and one of the issues that has popped up for him is TikTok paid ads from companies that uses music on ads he never would have approved isn't being paid for. Soul, A, it's good to see you, friend. B, Dr. B and I were having this conversation yesterday, and then Travis and I were having this conversation too. Who else did I talk to? Oh, and I was talking to Judge Abby about this morning too, as we were both on our way back from Starbucks. We have our Starbucks together in the morning in the car, her on her way to work, even though her way to work was through torrential rains in Southern California. And my way to work was driving the fuck back home, trying to dodge the potholes that inevitably come with the end of a snow. But we were chatting about this, is a lot of creators or companies will use and make ads on TikTok or even promoted videos on TikTok that are essentially an ad, and will use music that they don't get approval for and don't pay for. If you're going to make a Super Bowl ad, or if you're going to make a television ad, or even a social media ad as like Target, and you want to use music, you have to license that music. But people are doing it on TikTok without licensing the music at all. It is hard for artists to protect their integrity, their name, image, likeness, their music, and what their music's associated with. And B, it is it's not fair to them that people aren't paying licensing. Licensing for ads is a huge income potential, and people being able to just grab that and use it in ads is a huge problem. A huge problem. So Lori and CT, join me on the salty train of where Dave is playing and not playing. Join me on the salty train. Nuance said, question for M, will you ever cover the Paul World stuff? Would love to hear your take on it. Griffin has been asking me to cover it. So yes, at some point I will cover it. So, but let me know if y'all want to chat. We might need to chat about that. Chase, I color guard in high school too. Love being here. Love it. My color guard did not do rifles. My kid is a rifle kid. He has been trying to teach me how to do rifles. And I'm like, buddy, I love my nails too much, but it's been really fun having flags around the house again and to spin some. My shoulders are so weak. Like I was out spinning. I was like, I used to be able to do this. Damn it. But it's been really fun getting to spin a little with him. He's so much better than I am. God, that kid is so much better than me. Kevin said, only a little over 30 minutes late. Time is a construct. Started watching 2 times speed to get caught up, putting up groceries and drinking Dr. Pepper 60 miles east of Atlanta, Georgia. Cheers. Atlanta's beautiful. About to turn 31 and went wild, still my ride or die. And there's no shame in it. You don't have to fight 10-year-olds at Sephora. Angela said, my girl tried to tell me to buy her something on Amazon just because I had her watch Willy Wonka for the Farouk assault of it all. Oompa, oompa, loompa, dippity doo. I want Drunken Elephant now, mommy. FYI, Swoop has a story on 10-year-olds in Sephora. I can't wait to go watch it. Amethyst asks like legal questions. When are you no longer allowed to file appeals? There has to be a reason. But if there is a reason, you can generally keep filing appeals. Eventually, your appellate rights, if there's no new reason, run out. Like there's standard appeals, especially in like a death penalty case. There are standard appeals that you have. But once that kind of lineage of appeals runs, there has to be something new. And if there's nothing new, you're done. CeeLo, thank you for the gift of memberships. Ursula's a witch. Thank you for the memberships. Ursula's a sea witch. Do you ever watch Traders on Peacock? Lots of Real Housewives on there. I have it queued up. I have not watched it. My TV watching goes in waves. I went to bed at 8:15 last night. I've been so tired. So it goes in waves. Okay, after all this time, Bravo is a TV channel. Thought it was just a convention you went to. I love you so much. I should remember to stop using shorthand for things. Bravo is a network. It's part of the NBC Universal family. It is the network that hosts all of the things. Did you ever watch MILF Manor? No. It was wonderfully cringe and chaotic. I mean, it sounds like it. I need Peter Mon's TV watching schedule. Like, I need to watch more TV. Got my We Live Here Now mega mug of tea and toast ready to go. I love that mug. It's so good. Nini is excellent TV without alcohol. Other alleged Bravo problematic behaviors. Nini is fantastic TV. 10/10, absolutely agree. Nini is great TV. I enjoyed Roaming Roomba of Justice. That's a great name, Cumulus Cloud. Stephen, I think we can all agree the book would have sold regardless of the verdict. The entire trial was captivating to many people. People want the inside scoop, yes. But what we're finding is when people with the inside scoop want to write a book, it's always a bad idea. Like, it's always a bad idea. I haven't watched MILF Manor. I need to. I'm here for cringe. I don't mind cringe. I was watching Peter, Lawyer You Know, yesterday talking about the judge from a different school shooting. Hold on. I'm just going to Emily, just pull it up. Just pull it up on YouTube so you know the thing of which you speak. It's not going to be hard. Let's see. Peter's last visit, or Peter's last, was it a live stream? Was it a video? Hold on. The Parkland case, the Parkland judge did an interview. Thank you, Parkland. The Parkland judge did an interview with Jesse Weber. And at the end of the interview, and I had just peeked in because I saw the notification. I think it was a premiere. I just peeked in. And at the end, the judge from the Parkland shooter trial is writing a book. And I was like, no. For all of you that saw me in the chat, I was like, no. Matthew said, I'm a digital marketer. Trust me, paid ads work really well. Paid ads do work well, but when you're using music, I understand why the artists are mad. Like, I get it. And that's a TikTok issue, not a marketer issue. I was like, no. So that judge who had ethical complaints against them and who said they decided to leave the bench before that case was over is writing a book. You know who else wrote a book? Keefe D wrote a book. He's being prosecuted for the murder of Tupac. You know who else wrote a book? Corey Richins wrote a book. Like, there are great authors that write great books. I mean, I am knee deep in not ACOTAR because I have never read the Throne of Glass series. So I am all like SJM'd up over here. There are some books that just don't need to be written. And when you are an elected official, I don't know if it's a good idea. I forgot that Ito wrote a book. I'm going to have to go look. Did Corey Richins write a book, though? I mean, I don't know. I need to go look, Virginia, and see if Ito wrote a book. I don't like it. Not every case needs a book written about it. Trust me, I've been asked about, I was asked about Murdaugh. I was asked about Depp Heard. I don't see a world in which I'm writing a book about cases that I've covered. I do see a world where I'm writing a different type of book. Emily, get with Runkle to write a book under pen names and only if it's spicy. I can see a world where I write a book about maybe the way I process information and things that I talk about on the live stream. I could see putting that into format. The law nerd dictionary will be funny as hell, but not about the cases that I cover. If you want to hear what I have to say about the cases that I cover, it's here on YouTube. Emily, what do you think about the jury discussing the case before deliberations? Only one juror said that, and it was juror Z, so I don't know if it really happened. If it did, it's a problem. This is wild. I wouldn't imagine it if I didn't see it. The things that happen in court are plot lines for future books to be written. Holy bananas, almost 3 years. Call me out. Good to see you. It has been almost 3 years since we watched the Call Me Out music video on a members only live stream, and the music industry got real salty about it. Marsha Clark did write a book. I remember that. Jodi Arias' lawyer wrote a tell-all and is now a commentator on all of the court channels. I don't like it. I don't like it. Can you do a law nerd glossary in the app? We probably can. We can probably get there. I'm sorry, but Bravo and Manzo are who exactly? Wedge, I know we got there and covered it. Why was she questioned separately? Shauna, scheduling for Juror X. Bonnie R said, I've had such a rough year start live for EDB today. I'm so glad you're here, and I'm sorry. Christy said, I was in color guard too in high school. My 10-year-old girls skate, and I buy them Elf, and it works well, right? Didn't Becky say she never met with her alone? Yes. Becky did say she never met with anybody alone, but she did say they talked at Moselle about the trees. Let's see. MB said, EDB, did you just say you don't visualize things? Yes. I do not visualize things. It's not that I don't want to. It's that I cannot. I do not have a, I do not have like a mind's eye. I don't know how to describe it, because for people who like can see things in their brain, that's weird to explain, but I cannot see things in my brain. Like I cannot visualize things in my brain. Morgan Tremaine is a mod in the Law and Crime chats. I wonder how that came about. That's fascinating. So I hear everything. Yes, Emma Mac, aphantasia, but explaining aphantasia doesn't help describe the thing. I hear everything. Like everything is words. There's no imagery going with the words. So it's words. And somebody else asked, when you hear songs in your head, do you hear music or lyrics? It's mostly lyrics. So yeah, I don't visualize. I didn't realize it was a thing. I think that all realization came around. We were talking, like I've talked to my family about it, but that we were talking about that during the Paltrow trial with all the brain doctors that were testifying. I'm like, wait a second. I thought some of this was like when people were like, visualize it, I thought they were just thinking of it. Like, oh my God. Tamar said, starting to think this is a PR stunt by Baxter's. The way I cackled at that voice for Miss Becky. Tinsley, it's the only one that's appropriate. Sarah said, I don't think she affected the outcome, but understand the danger of talking and unconscious sway. Both case law have merit. Will be interesting to see the appeal decision. That's where I'm at too. I don't like my last name on this day. Bethany Merritt, I'm sorry. All the Beckys in the chat are also really mad. Music to My Soul said, I'm just over here waiting for my dog to think you're trying to call him because his name is Merritt. Merritt, you are the goodest of good boys, just like Bubba. Cindy said, did Miss Becky still have her job? Yes. And if so, did or could she be reprimanded for this? I mean, I think there's more to come. I can't imagine that Judge Newman is happy. The thing is, Becky Hill is not Judge Newman's clerk. Becky Hill is the elected clerk for the county of Carleton County, and Judge Newman was riding circuit between all the counties. This is not Judge Newman's clerk. This is the elected clerk, and there is no mechanism for recall. So she's clearly afraid of it. Her emails were like, I'm taking stuff out of my office because I don't know what shit's going to go down. They're going to call and ask me to step down. I don't think they legally can. I don't even share my coworkers' cell numbers. No. Same. But then the juror lied about the ride home. That doesn't sit well with me. I don't understand what happened there. Like, I have so many more questions. EDB, we are drinking from the exact same mug. Yay. We need a damn it, Becky doll stat. Damn it, Becky. Coral said, it's my birthday, 46 and counting. Keep going. Could Judge Toll make an ethics complaint about Becky? I don't know if it would be appropriate. Judge Toll made their findings on the record very thoroughly and said what they said. The findings on the record and the transcript are that Becky did in fact talk to the jurors, that they were fleeting and foolish comments motivated by attention, but not by malice to sway the jury. That's all been noted. So there's already ethics complaints about Becky. So I don't think the judge needs to make any additional complaints. I think it's the record will out, if you will. We did that one. Wait, Judge Judy is not a real judge? No. The computer made its own motion for Code Green. It sure fucking did. Emily, will you get more special law nerds cups in? Yes, we are working on them now. We've got 2 different orders of law nerds cups for you guys. I'm real excited about them. Again, things that will be discussed in the members only, but I'm real excited by what we did. Question, why isn't being a politician and an active trial lawyer a conflict? Aunt Irma, there are sometimes that can be conflict. Like you couldn't be a legislator and a prosecutor, but you can be an active politician and a defense attorney. And we see this more common in smaller states where lawyers tend to be, very involved in the legislature and also still actively lawyering. And especially if legislators, depending on the state, don't sit all year, depending on what their salary is. I wonder how many legislators in the state of South Carolina have other jobs, if not lawyering, but doing other things. Like anybody, a pharmacist, like what else are they up to? And it really varies state by state, but they shouldn't be enacting laws that necessarily impact them because they are not working as arms of the government in their lawyer professions. J. Michael, you never have to apologize. We're always glad you're here. Sephora Stories reminder, I will get there. Could you do that with the Parkland school shooter judge? I was conflicted, but the Florida Supreme Court had words. I will take a look at what the Florida Supreme Court has to say. Like Queen said, Emily is so easy to listen to, even when it's a subject I'm not interested. I can listen to her while doing other things. That's my goal. That is my goal, to just chat you through the day of all the things we're doing. So close to a year. Congratulations, Kelly D. Accepted a new job to be Special Olympics coach start next week. Congratulations, Caitlin. Complete career change. So excited. Love you, EDB. You inspire me. That's incredible. Caitlin, congratulations. Have the best time. Lawyer is covering the defense attorney in Oxford later today. Awesome. LA to Texas did band also. Kids, not so homesick. Thanks. Perfect. Come on, y'all. Corey wrote a very fictional book and not a DIY instruction manual on how to secure a guilty verdict. David. And said, you read and under the words, and the words always fail to paint a picture in your brain. Yes. So, I know what I wanted to look at. Hold on. Give me 1 second. I wanted to look at why is Louis Vuitton calling me? I wonder if my bag's back. I had a bag out for repair. I wonder if it's back. That's probably why they're calling me. No, Emily, you can't answer. You're live streaming. I wanted to take a look at the Murdaugh docket real quick and see. They'll text me. Just text me. I wanted to look at the Murdaugh docket real quick for the appeal and see if there was anything new. So give me 1 second. I don't think there is, but you never know. Let me grab the case number real quick. Watching me do research, I'm sure, is everyone's favorite thing. Sorry. All right, let's see if there's anything new on the docket. Yes, there is. Okay, mods, just give me 1 second. Judge Judy is a real judge. Sitting on TV, Judge Judy is not acting as a real judge, though. On TV, Judge Judy is not a real judge because the proceedings aren't real. They're not actual court proceedings. They're televised proceedings. So hopefully that clarifies. Let me pull this up because what I see is redacted affidavit of Juror Z, redacted affidavit number 74, and the state's pre-hearing brief, which we already went over. I want to see the redacted affidavit of Juror Z. That's what I want to see. All right. Let's swoop real quick. We're going to do this. The mods are like, what are we doing? It's fine. It's fine. We're going to do this real quick. And then we're going to not do anything. Then we're done. Let's see. All right. This might just be the initial affidavit and not the, well, let's just see. Let's just see. Emily, all pulled up. Yes. Damn it. There we go. All right. This is the transmittal email. This got sent to the court on January 29th, Monday, the day of the hearing at like 5:00 p.m. And this is, good afternoon. Please find attached for the filing with the court from Heather Hardy, the paralegal with Harpootlian's office. Here's the redacted affidavit of the juror. Appeared before me. This is the bonus one. Oh, chat. Wait, why are you guys saying you can't hear? I can hear. It looks fine. So I don't know what to tell you, chat. Hold on. Let's see if that's any better. Okay. Today's been a weird day. All right. I was muted for a bit. That's so weird. Okay, chat. Let's swoop. Let's talk about new filings. Wait. Why? Why won't you let me be great today? I'm trying so hard, and now I'm stuck. I don't want to be stuck. Damn it. Now I'm stuck. Everything froze. The internet just won't let me be great. We're going to have to do it again. So thank you, chat, for riding with me. Well, this is why we timestamp everything. Good God, today. Sometimes it happens. All right, let's try that one more time. We have a new filing. We never get to use our new filing bumper, and we're using it now, damn it. From the Murdaugh hearing on Monday, January 29th. If you watch that hearing here with me live for all 8 hours, you will remember that the first juror that testified on Friday, Juror Z, testified and then later in the day sent an affidavit and wanted to clarify their testimony. And the court was like, we're not doing that. But the court said we can make it a part of the record for appeal because we need to know what is being said. And that is what is now available. And that is what I am going to go through right now. So we are going to take a look at the affidavit of the juror identified as Juror Z that was sent to the court. And then we're going to stop because there's nothing else I can do today because the internet won't let me be great. It's just that kind of a day. Okay. This individual juror apparently left court and found a notary the same day, went to a notary, signed an affidavit, and sent it to court. I would like to clarify my testimony today. As I testified, I felt influenced to find Mr. Murdaugh guilty by reason of Ms. Hill's remarks before I entered the jury room. Once deliberations began, as I stated in paragraph 10 of my earlier affidavit, I felt further additional pressure to reach the guilty verdict. It does not, however, say my verdict was based on the influence I felt because of Ms. Hill's remarks. It does not say, I would not have voted guilty without Ms. Hill's remarks. And this is not evidence in the hearing. But I do love that South Carolina says further affiant saith not. I think it is fucking great. And saith not needs to be the standard across this fine nation. because I fucking love it. But this still says I felt influenced by Ms. Hill and I felt influenced by the other jurors. It actually doesn't clarify anything because two things can be true at once. And it doesn't say I voted guilty because of what Ms. Hill said. It doesn't help clarify, but it feels like this juror is trying to help. And this juror is represented by a lawyer that works closely with Dick Harpootlian. I'm curious how they went and just found a notary public and when. And I have so many questions here for this juror. But that's the redacted affidavit. This is the last minute affidavit that Poot was like, but Your Honor, they want to add more testimony. And the court's like, that's not how this shit works. You don't get to get down off the stand and then add more to it. So it's weird to me. It's just weird to me. And it's definitely not clarifying anything. Agreed. So that is the last thing that I saw filed. The state has their pre-hearing brief that we went over. I believe, nope, that populated the 29th. We're not going to go through it because we know what happened, but we had the rest of it from the 26th. So with everything, incoming redacted affidavit number 74. Okay, wait, what's this? Hold on, there's one more. There might be one more. Let's see what this is. Redacted affidavit. What is... Oh, this looks like the full affidavit. This was sworn on the 29th of January. This is the affidavit from the juror who testified that they just signed it in the morning. This was the juror who had talked to Holly and then was like, yes, I talked to Holly. Holly put it in like this hearsay, like this person spoke to me and this is what they said. This is the full affidavit from juror number 741. I was juror 741 in the case of South Carolina versus Murdaugh in Colleton County. I was an alternate juror. During the trial, I witnessed the clerk of court, Becky Hill, come into the jury room and say she and the forewoman went into the bathroom. After Ms. Hill and the forewoman exited the bathroom, she told the jurors that we could not ask the forewoman questions. Before the defense put up their case, Ms. Hill told the jurors, the defense is about to do their side. They are going to say things that will try to confuse you. Don't let them confuse you or convince you or throw you off. Ms. Hill made the above statement warning that the defense would try to confuse us in the presence of all the jurors as we had assembled in the same jury room, which none of the other jurors testified about. Ms. Hill said, if you get emotional, we want to see your face because that is what they want to see. None of the jurors talked about that as well, which is strange to me. All jurors were assembled in one room when she made this comment. Ms. Hill also informed us that Alec Murdaugh was going to testify, but I don't recall exactly what she said. All jurors were assembled in one room when she made this comment. During the visit to Moselle, juror 826 and I walked to the scene together. Then juror 826 began walking with the clerk of court. I could tell they were talking, but could not hear what they said. I also overheard discussions in the jury room that Ms. Hill drove a juror home. I believe it was a juror whose nickname was Redacted, even though she testified to it. Before the juror began deliberating, I heard a member of the court staff say that the deliberations shouldn't take long. I don't remember specifically who made the statement. As the jury was deliberating, I believe Judge Newman came to the room I was in and told me the jury would have to spend the night in a hotel if they did not have a vote by a certain time. I do not recall the time deadline. Further affiant saith not. Oh, South Carolina. Diana said, Poot, but Your Honor, what's the hurry? We have 3 days. What's the hurry? Judge, what's this email from Juror Z? This case is so fucking messy. It's just so messy. None of this would even be a thing if the clerk of court hadn't been giving people pep talks. Like it's hard, right? It's a hard thing to be like, I can't talk to you. It's a hard thing to see people day in and day out for 6 weeks and not have pleasantries with them. But that's the job. The part that's weird to me, no one questioned her saying Judge Newman coming into the room. I mean, she was an alternate at that point, which is weird. Judge Newman told them about the hotel. That's what the alternate said. She's saying Judge Newman said the hotel thing to her. She was separate from the jury at this time, which is weird. The bailiff should have been doing all of this. But also, the South is prone to different types of chatty pleasantries than other regions. The Midwest would fall victim to this too, but you still have to do your job. You can't have chatty pleasantries. It's awkward. Standing outside of a courtroom, waiting to go in as the prosecutor, and people are trying to chat with you, and you say, I can't talk to you. Even saying I can't talk to you is probably beyond what you should say. But it's very hard to stand there and go, no. But the judge tells them you can't talk to the people involved in this case, and then they try to talk to you. People try to talk to you. Not okay. But it's your job to say, I count you in the morning. I count you in the afternoon. I let the court know we're ready. If you need anything, you let me know. We're going to do our best to make sure you're comfortable. The bailiff is in charge of you. You can't talk to anybody about the case. The judge will give you the instructions. That's it. That's it. That's all. That's part of the job. You just can't talk to people. And it feels awkward because that's not our society. However, you've got to just believe that it is. We don't chat to nobody in New York unless you're looking for a good pizza. Rhonda is the queen of clerks. She accepts no bull. And she said, this is the job. And knowing that Rhonda was the one who was backing up Becky, like, did Rhonda know this was going on? Because she would have been like, Miss Becky, WTF, stop. Anyway, let's see. I live in Appalachia. If you don't talk, you are having a bad day or you are rude. And but Tammy, in circumstances where this clerk is told not to, she should be able to not to. All right, with that, we have streamed for a super long stream today. Law nerds, I always love seeing you. I was so tired this morning. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to stream today. And 3.5 hours later, here we are. It was so good to see you. I am going to go rest. I have a very long day tomorrow. We've got some hair tomorrow. Oh, I forgot to tell Sephora Stories. This is for the OGs that wait till the very end. See, we put the good stuff at the end. It's like a members only live stream. Okay, so I was going to Sephora. What was I don't remember what I was going to get. I was going to get something over winter break. So kids were out of school. I knew kids were out of school, but I was going to go get something over winter break from Sephora before I went to LA. I don't remember what I needed, but the reason I didn't order it online is because I was like, I need this thing. I need it today. I need to pack and travel. I've got shit I've got to do. So I go to Sephora. It was, I don't know what day off it was. It was a day off. It might have been MLK Day. 2 different dates. My brain has stopped. I'm conflating dates. There have been 2 instances of this. The first time was because Sephora had a Dyson Airwrap dryer, and my mom had sent me a Sephora gift card for Christmas. And so I was very tempted. Thanks, Mom. I was very tempted to get the Dyson Airwrap. It was on sale at Sephora. I had a gift card. They had a limited edition color. God help me, the way that marketers will be like, limited edition color. And I'm like, obviously I need it now. I was torn about the Airwrap. I fucking love it. It's way too expensive, but I fucking love it. It's fine. So I had seen the Airwrap and the limited edition color, and I was like, all the things, give it to me. And went back to Sephora the next day because I'm like, ADHD, I'm going to sleep on it. It is an expensive hairdryer. It's kind of ridiculous, but ADHD, I'm going to sleep on it. I'm not going to impulse buy this hairdryer right now. I'm not going to impulse buy this hairdryer right now. It is too expensive for an impulse buy. Going to sleep on it. That night in Sephora was empty. It was glorious. Dr. B and I had gone to pick something up at the mall, went into the Sephora. It's by the entrance I walk into. Like, this mall is fairly large. It has this, our mall, the Cool Springs Mall, has a whole like cotton candy store now where they do those huge like shaped cotton candies. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen, but they're like giant unicorn heads and giant flowers. They're so big. The whole mall now smells like cotton candy. It's fucking glorious, but huge cotton candies. But the entrance I go into in the middle of the mall, it is like the entrance I love, Sephora, the Apple store, like Williams and Sonoma, Pottery Barn, that's it. So I have like the 4 places I go on the bottom level of the mall, and then I get the fuck out. Malls are overwhelming to me. I am light sensitive. I cannot deal with the overhead lights at the mall. I can't. So Sephora was empty that evening. It was lovely. I showed Dr. B the Dyson Airwrap. He's like, that's a hairdryer. I'm like, this is crazy. This is crazy. I just met you. So the next day I go back to the mall because at this point I've been thinking about it all night and I'm like, I have to go get this. I have to go get it. I love the limited edition color and I love it. It's great. It is so expensive. This is a luxury purchase. But it is great and I love it. So every time you guys have complimented my hair, I'm like, yeah, new hairdryer. It's been amazing. I will say the $35 Revlon dry brush or brush dryer also works fucking amazing and I love it. So, you could do the things. So I go back to the mall to buy the Dyson and the entire Sephora this is now midday, is what, because I wanted to go get Starbucks and then go to the mall. And if I'm leaving my house and everything's like a 30-minute drive, I'm only leaving my house once. Wall-to-wall tweens. And not only is it wall-to-wall tweens, but it is wall-to-wall tweens wearing like the panda colorway Air Force Ones, like the white ones with the black swoops, black leggings, some version of a sweatshirt or t-shirt, carrying a Stanley mug that is bigger than their bodies because they are tweens. Like the Stanley mug takes up their entire torso as they are carting it around like a pet. It's also very, very heavy. All of them. Air Force Ones, leggings, some type of top, Stanley mug, like Lululemon belt bag, and a thing full of Sephora. Like a thing full of Sephora. This seems to be the new Visco Go uniform. I don't know. My youngest that is at this age goes to a school with uniforms. My oldest is in high school and everyone seems to just wear pajama pants, which I fully support. So wall-to-wall teens with like baskets full of Sephora goods. And the Sephora looks fucking tossed. I have never seen Sephora, and I have been shopping at Sephora for my adult years. Every time I travel, Octo and I, or Chris and I, end up at a Sephora because I have run out of something. It's normally the under eye patches by Shiseido that I love, but I have run out of something. I was getting ready to do my onstage talk at, was it VidCon? And like did the last pump of my tinted moisturizer, and it was like, and I was like, God damn it. God damn it. We need to run to Sephora. I'm out of makeup. So I've shopped at Sephora for a very long time. I have never seen a Sephora tossed. Like just by people looking through things and grabbing things, like tossed. Like everything has been touched. Everything has been explored. It was empty. Toya, this. It was exactly this. But nobody was getting their ears pierced. But it was exactly this. Tossed. And chaos. Things were gone. And it was just wall-to-wall kids because of course they travel in hordes. I travel in hordes. I get it. When I was a teen, we would walk obliviously like 5x5 through the mall to go get some Sbarro pizza. I get it. I get that you're all like walking in a line, but in this Sephora, like this big, they are like 4x4 and there are hordes of them, like groups everywhere, all in the same outfit. And I'm like looking over their heads, trying to find the thing that I needed. Also, I needed more of these before I traveled because I live for the Laneige. Trying to find these, because they are also very popular, was a struggle. This has never been a struggle. I have used the Laneige lip sleepy mask since like 2019. And they're buying skincare that is like $40 to $60 a thing. It is not an expensive makeup at Sephora. Even the Sephora brand is not an expensive makeup. So there are hordes of teens. And it is me getting in line. And this lovely woman behind me who was probably around my age, and I'm like, I do not shop in store during like the day. And I don't know what is happening. She's like, I don't know what is happening. I'm like, when I was a teen, we just went to CVS and we liked it. We got like $1 like eyeliner. I didn't know what a makeup brush was until maybe my senior year in high school. There were the influencers were my friends who was like, girl, you're still using the little one that comes in the thing. And I was like, yeah, you put it in the one color, and then you put it in the other color. We're supposed to do something else. And then we all went to CVS and bought makeup brushes together because one of our friends was like, there are brushes. And we're like, what? We were not influenced by the internet because it didn't exist. We were influenced by each other, but our world was very small, and we loved like Dr. Pepper flavored lip gloss and or chapstick and makeup that we had to wear for band. So it was bizarre to see so many young kids, not even teens, tweens buying luxury makeup at the mall. And I couldn't find what I was looking for because I was trying to navigate through the hordes of children. The second time I went back to the mall before I traveled, because that was the day I was trying to buy the Air Wrap. And by the time I wandered my way through the line that was 100 years long, I was like, do you guys have any Air Wraps? They're like, oh, we put them in the back. I was like, I can understand. It's a little busy in here. They're like, it's been like this. I'm like, The second time I went back during the day, I should have ordered online and then gone in, but I wanted to look for something. And it was the exact same experience. I think that was the MLK Day. It was the exact same experience. It was wall-to-wall kids. And all of them were using tap to pay. Every single one was walking up and just using tap to pay on their phone. I was like, okay. And I knew this about the tap to pay because when I've worked the snack bar at my kids' high school for like football games, there will be one kid who tap to pays his parents' credit card. And here's the secret. Those kids know which parents like check their credit card balances. And then the kids who have like green light accounts that has money put into it that doesn't just have an unlimited credit spending, they know. And so there will be one kid who I assume, these are assumptions I am making, their parents don't necessarily closely check their credit card bill because there's always the one kid who's like, I'm buying. And then like 15 kids show up and are like, I want 2 hot dogs and a pretzel and a Coke or a Dr. Pepper. And so they end up at the snack bar for band with like $100 bill and they're just tap to paying. So all of them are walking up and tap to paying. And then some of them are like, can I do part on a gift card and part tap to pay and part this? And I'm like, oh my God, it is. And then it's just overwhelming for me, that many people in a small space, but also it's just wild to see. It's just wild to see that many kids really shopping for luxury makeup. And it made me kind of sad because it used to be, I mean, there's always been pressures on kids, right? There's always been pressures to fit in and to have the thing that everybody else has. That's not new. But it seems like the pressure to fit in and the thing that everybody needs to have, the cost of that thing has gone up and up and up and up. And that is, the volume of it is different. And I imagine the pressures of being online and wanting the thing everybody else wants is something I see. When I see people trying out things that I like, I'm like, oh, I want to try that thing. It's why I stopped watching a lot of beauty content because I was like, oh, I need that. Oh, I need that. No, I need this. I don't need 17,000 lipsticks. I need like 4. So it's making me sad to see kids feel that pressure because it's on such a large scale. It used to be just insular within their high school. And the thing that people wanted was not, $300 worth of skincare that they don't need at Sephora. And it was a little horrifying and overwhelming. And then it made me kind of sad. And it also, as a parent, trying to make sure that my kids are able to be kids without being influenced by the internet, but also not feeling like they're left out of culture is a hard balance. Because there's times when my teen who's not on TikTok or Snapchat or whatever is like, oh, they're all talking about this thing and I don't have any context for that thing. So it can also be socially isolating, not being a part of the culture, but then the pressure to fit in is just so hard. I don't know. I hope there are more teen influencers doing like a Sephora haul. Like, go back to Target. Target's so great. Go to Target. It's fantastic. It just it made me sad, and it feels like the pressure is amplified by how big and wide the internet has made the world, as opposed to being insular within your own little high school where, maybe within your CIF division, it's now cool on swim team to wear your towel. At some point in the 90s, low-rise towels were in. Like when I started swim team when I was pretty young, we all just wrapped our towel around our waist, or you wrapped it around your chest, and that was your towel. And then somewhere wrapping your towel around like the middle of your hip so that your swimsuit lines on your hip came up over it was a thing. And then it shifted. And then the cool style was to wear a t-shirt, but to tuck your t-shirt into the side of your swimsuit so that it was just like t-shirt and then swimsuit bottom and legs. Like these were the types of influence that happened around my world, was like, how are we covering up our swimsuits? Is it t-shirts tucked into the hips? Is it low rise towel wrapping, which I never understood, but I have too much booty for that. What are we doing? Is it the year that we all decided we wanted, like, I think it was senior year, that we wanted sparkly swimsuits with like the cut in at the shoulder so much, but I like have boobs. And so the huge cut-ins around the arms are great for swimmers without boobs, terrible for swimmers with boobs. And then because they had like a mock turtleneck, this is when we were getting into the swimsuits that zipped up the back. I believe that was my senior year. They were sparkly and green, but they would rub the shit out of your neck when you swam. And so we all had like rashes on our neck from our very cute but not very practical glittery swimwear choices for my senior swim season. It was a disaster. But anyway, these were the types of influence that we had. I have a picture of me from swim team where I had like a stud earring in the front and then like bigger earrings in the back, because that was the thing. Like it was just different. Are we wearing 2 pairs of socks, and what color? Yes, and they've got to be alternating. I'm surviving on a Neutrogena face cream at the moment, and it's working. And of course it is. And of course it is. The ethical Taylor said no with the sparkly swimmer. It was such a bad idea. It was such a bad idea. It was such a bad look. I work at the other makeup store. Fair enough, Camille. And I have told kids it is illegal to sell Drunk Elephant to them. If their parents can lie to them about Santa, I can about skincare. And I get why they want the Drunk Elephant. I get the packaging, but it's for aging skin. So anyway, EDB, remember the monkey suit swimsuits circa 1992? I do. I also remember there was a white Speedo thing that happened with some of the teams when I was playing water polo. Clueless, the movie, influenced my teen years. I mean, same. I wanted the bangs from Beverly Hills 90210, and my hair just didn't do that. I had that swimsuit for competition too, Speedo competition suit. Yep, it was not good. It was not good. But anyway, it made me sad that it feels like the influence on kids is not generally coming from other kids anymore. The influence on kids is coming from a much wider thing that doesn't always serve them. I mean, something like, oh, now we all wear t-shirts tucked into the sides of our swimsuits is less, I think, nefarious than, oh, here's a bunch of retinol-based skincare products for your 12-year-old skin. I don't think that is good. Yvette said Drunk Elephant is not cheap. It's not cheap, and it's not made for kids. Anyway, kids, you only get to be young once. Go to CVS, buy some fun makeup, get a simple skincare, and it will be fine. With all of that, I have streamed for way too long. Leonards, I was horrified. I was just, it truly made me a bit sad, and it also made me very overwhelmed. I also am just like, oh, when my kid comes home and is like, Mom, I think I might want to buy another keyboard. I'm like, well, kid, there's some work you can do to be able to afford that new keyboard. Christmas is coming up. Good luck. So if you set foot in a Sephora, keep an eye on the teens and feel for them. It's not going to be easy as they grow up and realize that their skincare habit that is being founded by or funded by mom and dad is going to make working in their late teens and early 20s very disappointing. When they have to spend their own money to do things, they're going to be like, what are we doing? It's hard. All right, y'all. Good to see you. Cheers. Law Nerds, you're the best. Don't forget to download the Law Nerd app, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. You can stay up to date with everything I'm covering and fast notifications on our free iOS and Android app at lawnerdapp.com, or search the App Store for Law Nerd. You can also follow me around social media, and don't forget to check out my podcast, The Emily Show, with quick bits dropping every Monday, summarizing everything I do here on the live streams on Tuesday and Thursday for when you just have time for the quick bits. Thanks for being a Law Nerd.